like a ghost. Maybe too much light on Nick.
Yeah, probably.
Let's see here. Maybe. Let's try that.
Still.
Still, man, you're too bright.
Can be.
Maybe it's just, maybe we don't need the stage heights.
I think so.
Let's see how it looks without.
Well, this is okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. All right. People are probably wondering where I am. They're like, who are these guys? People.
Hello.
If you watch the channel, you know these guys. All right, let me get them there.
Come on, jump. Squeeze.
Behind you.
Oh!
I'm destroying the microphone setup. Okay.
Sorry, guys. The podcast is over. Ramsey just destroyed everything.
All right. Testing. Actually, hold on. Let me log into YouTube here on my phone so I can read comments and such and get some feedback.
Can I do that? Oh, I can do
I
that.
think you can, actually, yeah.
Everybody can do that.
You can do that, too, if you have a phone, Jordan.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I trust
But
you.
Jourdan doesn't have phones.
Jordan is anti-technology.
Yeah.
I have a microchip in my head. I see everything.
All Jordan needs is a knife.
This is what Elon Musk does.
Okay, I've got an ad playing in front of the podcast as I try to log in and read your comments. So we're going to have to wait for this ad. It's an ad for Disney theme parks, I guess. So thanks, Mickey, for sort of sponsoring the channel. I'm probably making about 20 cents from watching this ad on my own video. Bravo. Oh,
All right.
skip it. Sweet. All right, there we are. Video of us all staring at our phones.
Yeah, nice.
that me?
I like it.
Except Jordan. Jordan's living in the moment here. All right, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Ramsey Dewey podcast. I've got the infamous Jourdan Chow and Nick Aliev here in what is going to be my new recording studio.
Neat.
Yeah, so I just moved, just changed houses, and yeah, we're setting up a recording studio here. It's kind of rough around the edges right now, but we'll get that going. So this is going to be a little bit different than the usual live streams we do where I just do Q&A, so it's not a live Q&A. So if you are logging in, ask me a bunch of questions. We'll do look at the questions segment maybe toward the end, but we're going to talk about aliens and stuff, right? We're going to do a live podcast. So if you're sending in super chats or something like that, we'll try to take a look at those after the main discussion. And yeah, I should probably ask, can you hear me? Can you hear all of us, or all the microphones coming through?
I can hear me. Can you hear me?
I can hear it too.
Heard the thing about the aliens.
The aliens are hearing me.
Illegal aliens? Okay.
There's an alien in this room.
Talking about aliens with Jordan, I always suspected, says Scott McGregor. Okay.
I think we had to get it going.
I think you can only legally play up to 4 seconds of that before they come.
It was 2. It was I counted.
Okay. Good. So, quick microphone check.
Yeah.
All those listening, let us know if you can hear Jordan.
You can hear me, right? Can you hear
Recite
me?
the alphabet backwards for everybody.
Z, Y, X, A, B, 3 equal sign.
He's an alien. You brought an alien.
Jordan, you said Z instead of Z this time. You're trying to hide your Canadianness.
I adapted it.
Hey.
Okay, can you all hear Jordan? Sound is good. Can you hear Nick? Nick?
1 2 Nick chest. I don't know why did I choose this word,
We
but
cannot hear you.
All right, you can hear everyone. Sweet.
All right,
Thank you.
good, cool.
Thank you, Rafael Garcia, for that input. Appreciate it. Okay, let's do some podcasting. So, man, that setup took way too long. That was like an hour. I invited you guys here, like, yeah, I've got this new studio. It's gonna be great, and I haven't set up anything, and it took me an hour to set. I'm a terrible friend, guys.
it was there was a table.
There was a table. There was a table, and there were things on it.
Yeah, well, that's something. That's a good start for a podcast.
We were here, so.
Yeah. So, tune in tomorrow after the ads. Right. appreciate the comments. Now, we were having a discussion last time we met about aliens and why it is that only crazy people see aliens. And but let's recap that conversation a little bit and see if we can springboard off it a bit. But so I have this theory. I have this theory about why only crazy people see aliens. And well, actually, I have a bunch of theories.
Pick one.
Let's pick one. Okay, let's go back to that story about Christopher Columbus. It's a bit of an anecdotal story. It may or may not be true, but there is scientific literature to support the concepts from this story. And that is that when Columbus sailed to the island which is now the Dominican Republic, the natives were not able to see the ships, the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. Now again, I don't know if this is true, it's anecdotal, but according to the story, they weren't able to see the ships until they got on board, felt the ships, saw what the ships could do, and experienced a sailing vessel for the first time. Then they were like, aha, I can see this thing. Now that seems kind of silly and ridiculous, but there is quite a bit of very fascinating scientific literature about the way the human eye works. And that is that the eye is not a camera. It kind of is. It's like, we have lenses and it focuses like a camera, but the connection between the human brain and the eye is like an imaging probability generator, meaning what we see is our mind's best guess of what will probably happen a fraction of a second in the future based on previous experiences.
So those guys who saw Columbus, they were like, nah.
Yeah, something like that. Basically, no previous experience with sailing vessels, and so when they saw ships, they were like, eh. But it also begs the question, they also had no previous experiences with bearded Spanish guys or Italian sailors.
So you mean that if they never experienced it, they don't know what it's like? If they haven't touched or seen it, then they don't know. You mean?
Yeah, that's the idea. That's the idea. It's like if you'd never tasted salt, how do you describe salt to someone? You might say, oh, it's salty, but yeah, or it prickles your tongue in a certain way, but that doesn't really explain the flavor to someone who's never tasted it. I don't know who's never tasted salt because it is an essential nutrient to support human life. You will die without it, but it's an analogy. So, if there are aliens out there traveling the cosmos with technology far beyond our comprehension that is able to sustain interstellar travel or interdimensional travel or whatever it is, would we be able to perceive them? Because we've never really experienced anything like that.
Well, I mean, we've seen them, right? Isn't there like all these UFO sightings? I know recently, like Fox News did all these. There's been so many reports on UFOs lately, and I'm wondering why.
Yes.
Well, we have to mind.
Keep
Keep the thing in mind that UFO is any object that is unrecognized, right? So anything, the kite could be an UFO. So what is it? We don't know. I mean, what is the origin of that UFO?
Blimp could be a UFO.
Yeah, everything.
The most commonly cited UFO in the world is called the Black Triangle. It's a black triangular shaped flying object.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw one when I was about 9 years old in Idaho, southwestern Idaho. It was flying above my hometown. I'm not sure how high. It was flying fairly slowly, and then it zoomed off quite quickly. So it changed speed, like like a theoretical VTOL or something like that.
Okay, according to your theory, how did you manage to see that? Are you crazy?
That's a good question.
Is something mental going on in your brain?
As people always say, to be a cage fighter, you have to be a little bit crazy, maybe a lot. But, I don't know. But it's the most commonly cited UFO, unidentified flying object. Now, if you look up the Wikipedia article on the Black Triangle, it says that it was claimed by the government trying to cover for the American government, or is it the American government trying to cover up aliens?
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, we might have to
And
do
we're
that.
live.
We might have to do that a few times throughout this podcast because, again, we're in China and we're breaching the Great Firewall to talk to you guys. So we might cut in
Which
and
was
out once in a
probably
while.
said by aliens also. You know,
Probably.
could be. Why not?
I mean, speaking of alien invasion, there was that one story. You ever heard of? Was it Travis Walton? Something?
No. What's that one about?
There's a movie based on it. It's called Fire in the Sky.
Okay.
And but he said that he was abducted by aliens, and yeah. So there's like and the whole story about it. Like, is he telling the truth or not? Right? Because he went missing for 5 days, and a lot of people said that it was actually fake because he made so much money from it, from all those interviews and books that he wrote. So yeah, and it makes you wonder, like, are alien abductions real? 'Cause I did read that there's actually an insurance that you can buy for alien abductions.
Huh.
But I'm like, how can you prove that though?
Yeah, most insurance companies, at least in America, also offer coverage against what they call an act of God, which includes but is not limited to aliens.
What does that mean?
I read a research that says that the alien people seeing aliens, the cases of aliens impacts or seeing something unidentified in the skies are multiplied after a good release of a good book or a good release of a good movie. And it like triples and quadruples in the United States mostly, because I don't know what is going on with you guys, but in the United States it's
They like
a
aliens.
they're just like
They're like aliens.
it's just like
All
it's
those
just
movies.
booming.
Independence Day.
So you're saying that
Our perception
That
works
sounded like
this
Captain
way, you know.
Universe.
You start like you start make I don't know how the brain works, but for example, you bought a car and you bought a Toyota, and
Okay.
before that you didn't pay attention to Toyotas, right? But
Okay.
now you have a Toyota and you drive a Toyota and you're like, oh,
you see
this
them
is the
everywhere.
guy driving Toyota. Oh, here
okay.
Toyota. You know, you start focusing on things, and
Yes.
you
Like
might.
branding, you mean? Like branding?
It's
It's-
like you know that thing where people who don't know how to grapple watch the UFC and they're like, oh, they're just hugging. This is so gay. It's boring. Why don't they stand them up, ref? But then they learn jujitsu and they're like, oh, it's an intriguing chess game on the ground of technique and strategy, right?
Okay.
It's a difference between
Why?
watching.
It's not just grappling, no?
The difference between watching like UFC with people who don't grapple and people who do. It's night and day. Like people who grapple see something completely different.
Right.
Right. So it's kind of the same thing with the Toyota analogy. Like you have experience with it, so you see that thing everywhere. Right?
Kind of, yeah. It's just like, what do you want to see and what do you pay attention to, right? So for example, like something falls on me and my wife. We sleep, right, and something in the there is a sound in the kitchen. Something falls,
Yeah.
and I'll be blaming a cat, right? Because that's for me. I'll be like, it's a cat. My wife will be like, it's a ghost. I'm not going there. So that's a perception of, because she's into like aliens and ghosts and everything. I'm all like pragmatic
Your
person.
imagination, yeah.
I'm like, it's a wind, or it's a physics, or it's a cat,
It's
or
science. It's scientifically.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we could see the same thing and prove it from different perspectives. Who's right or wrong?
It's-
I mean,
yeah.
probably there will be right or wrong, but still, that's a perception
It's
of.
It's your imagination usually. Like if I say this place is haunted, even though it isn't, if you really believe it's haunted, you will think it's haunted and you'll get scared.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're
It's
"Oh,
like
I heard it."
placebo.
Yeah, it's your.
It's like pills. When
your
people
imagination.
invented they were giving the patients the first placebos came in medicine. They could not fight whatever it was, cancer, whatever, right? So they were like, we cannot do anything. So let's try this therapy. Let's make people believe that this pill works. So they were giving the
like a
pills.
placebo.
Yeah.
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 Placebo.
I
Yeah,
read
placebo.
a fascinating article about placebos the other day. Sorry, I can't give the reference, but just like 2 days ago, and this doctor said, and I don't know if the statistic is accurate, but he said placebo effect is responsible for curing more people than actual medicine.
Yeah, could be. Could be. I can believe that. Why not? I think that our mind is a very strong mechanism in general that can, even in the fight, right? Sometimes we win or lose the fight before the fight, right?
George St. Pierre said it's all 90% mental.
Yeah.
You could be physically fit, but
Yeah.
if you don't have it in there, you lose.
Yeah. That's why we see so many shit show going before the fights in UFC and all these promotions, right?
Yeah.
Because they kind of put the show, of course, and also they put a big mental pressure on each other. That's where people get a lot of benefits from. Like McGregor, right? He was like, yeah, I'm talking shit to everybody.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it was
really put down
also
a
a
lot of people.
strategy for him.
Like Jose Aldo, like, it really broke him down.
Yeah,
And then he got defeated in like
yeah.
10
The
seconds.
opposite can work too. You don't just have to trash talk and be hyper aggressive. The opposite of being the super classy, friendly guy that you don't want to punch in the face can be equally, if not sometimes more effective. I've experienced this
Oh,
personally.
that's you, right? That's every time I talk to you, I'm like, I don't want to punch him. I can't most of the times, but that's another story.
I've learned this from one of my opponents, this guy named Ricardo Hernandez. He was like just the nicest guy, and I met him at the weigh-ins, and he was just all class and all charm and all charisma, and I was like, I feel bad about wanting to hit this guy tomorrow. It doesn't feel right. And right up until the bell, he just like exuded just niceness and charm and just a gentleman. And then, it took me off guard. And he came out of the gate with a wild, crazy Superman punch trying to knock my teeth out. But, that put me back in the moment. But up until there, man, that was disarming, to be frank.
It's like George St. Pierre. He's very nice, but in the ring, he could be very dangerous.
Hmm?
And a lot of people always said that. Yeah. He's very friendly, yeah.
Those Canadians,
Yeah, those
you
us.
never know
Yeah.
what to expect. So we started off aliens and
Yeah,
we went
I was
to
going-
martial arts.
I was going-
always relate aliens and martial arts, always.
I was gonna go back to like the aliens, but you know Buzz Aldrin, the one of Neil Armstrong's.
Yeah, the astronaut.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard that. He said that when on the moon he saw an alien, but no one believed him. So they gave him a polygraph test, and they asked him again, "Did you see an alien?" And he said yes. And it turned out he was telling the truth. And a lot of people were wondering, like, how is that possible? And there's one explanation. It's because in his mind, he thinks he really believed in an alien. Because if you truly believe in something, it's true.
Right. There is. Sorry, I'm gonna take a small political vector right now.
Okay.
Very fast. So there is a war between Russia and Ukraine, right now, and so people, the Ukrainian side, they capture the soldiers from Russian side, and they do this test, polygraph test. So they captured the people from artillery, and artillery, they don't know if they kill people or not, right? So they don't directly see the target that they are aiming. So when they take a test on polygraph, the Ukrainian side asks them, did you kill any people, civilians or non-civilians? And they say no, and it goes positive, yes, they don't lie, because they believe they did not, although they have just the coordinates and they fire. They
Yeah.
don't see
They're
what's
not actually
going on.
looking at it like, oh, wait, I see.
Yeah.
There's a
Okay.
physical and mechanical
Yeah.
difference.
So-
Distance creates just ease in killing. Dave
Yeah.
Grossman wrote an amazing book on this topic. It's called On Killing, where he discussed this topic in depth for an entire book about what makes it easy to kill, what makes it hard to kill. Most people throughout the history of warfare have been very, very reluctant to pull the trigger, or worse yet, stab somebody with a knife. The closer you get, the harder it is to commit an act of violence. But when there's physical and mechanical difference, or distance,
Yeah.
it gets a lot easier. For example,
Turns into a video game.
yeah, if you think about what the Nazis did, they line people up and shoot them one by one, or just do horrific acts right to their face, looking at the victims in the eye. It takes a psychopath to do that. Okay? But if you're, let's say, 30,000 feet in the air in an aircraft, and all you have to do to kill 30,000 people is push a button, and you'll never have to see a single one of them, never hear a scream, anything like that. It doesn't take a psychopath to do that.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
Right.
Especially like I know like snipers. I heard there's the famous one, the one Bradley Cooper played, the American Sniper, the movie.
Yeah.
I think his real name is Chris something, and it showed like his snipers. When you look, you can actually physically see the person like very close up. And after all those kills, it really screwed up his mind. Like he got like PTSD from that. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
See, yeah, when you can see what you're doing, it's a very different thing.
Yeah.
But that's quite interesting, that polygraph test, that they were actually able to say, no, we did not kill, in spite of the fact that they know they're in the war, they know they're firing weapons.
Same probably with an astronaut.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Also there is we have to specify what is an alien, right?
Yeah.
Any life form on the other planet is an alien.
Yeah.
Or what? So if
Any
the
life
aliens
outside of Earth is an extraterrestrial.
if the aliens come to Earth and they're like, all right, I see that tree. Is that an alien for them?
Yeah.
'Cause it's a life form.
We're aliens to them
Would be,
when they
yeah.
come.
Yeah, we are human beings, right? But
Yeah.
is the tree an alien? Because it's also a life form, right?
Or like a dog or cat or something.
Sure, I mean, if we got in a spaceship and flew off to another planet, an exoplanet, another star system, landed there and saw, an alien plant, it would be an alien, sure.
It would be an alien plant. Yeah.
Now, I was having a conversation yesterday about angry vegans, because an angry vegan keeps stalking me on the internet saying, you're a murderer. I'm like, yep, sure am. What are you going to do about it? You kill animals. I know, and they're delicious. And, yeah, he absolutely hates those responses. But the conversation, when something like this, I'm a big advocate. You might say I'm a plants' rights advocate. Now, I don't officially belong to the plants' rights organization.
Environmentalist?
There is a plants' rights organization, when you hear that name, it sounds like they're a bunch of crazy people, but they're not. They're basically just people saying, look, plants are living things. Let's try not to do excessive and unnecessary harm to plants if we can help it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Should work for everything.
I mean, we eat vegetables, so isn't that like plant cruelty?
Well,
Stab that orange.
potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but
The plants' rights people aren't saying don't ever eat plants. They're just saying don't do unnecessary harm to plants.
it's like don't
Or
waste
like
food, man.
Deforestation. Like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, so,
Everything.
Everybody needs
Just
to eat.
don't
So the
wa-
plants'
don't
rights
waste
people aren't
things.
saying don't buy carrots in the supermarket. They're not saying don't be a vegan or anything like that.
Don't
So it's
order.
don't destroy the rainforest. Don't
Yeah.
pollute the oceans. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Don't just see a tree and chop it down for no reason. Have a reason for what you do with it.
See, a lot of things is also what we get used to do. Like I've been to Qatar, and we've been to that restaurant, which is they have very delicious food over there, and it was local food. But how do they do it? So they don't have a la carte. They have just like sets. And we were only 3 of us, and they have like 4 people set, 6 people set, 8 people set, and we were in Sheraton hotel, very fancy, and they were like, okay, we ordered 4 people set, and they were bringing the food like it was a huge table, and they were bringing the food for only 3 people. And we ate just a little bit, right? But because we ordered it, they had to bring it, so we had to leave all this food untouched, sitting there. And this is like a cultural thing when there should be a lot of food on the table, right? I understand the cultural thing. Georgia is also kind of the same, but in new realities when we have so many people on the earth and deforestation and all these global problems, right?
Yeah.
We have to mind these things. We have to be very careful where we spend things, the food, the water, everything, right? Because imagine 50 years ago, we only had half of the population. It was like around 4 billion people. We are now 7.3, 7.2 something. And we keep growing. probably, if we don't kill each other. I don't know.
Elon,
Things are
actually,
getting.
it's interesting. Elon Musk always said that everyone talks about overpopulation, but in his mind, he thinks that there's going to be an underpopulation. There's actually less. There's going to be less people. In the
I heard this theory as well.
Yeah.
It could be.
That's what the
Probably,
Chinese government is worried about right now. Is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
population of China.
Same with Japan and like a lot of countries.
because those countries are getting old
Yeah.
and
It's a-
educated.
Yeah,
educated
women are
countries.
being more educated.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's too expensive to raise a second child, so now they just have one.
Yeah,
like one child.
yeah, that's a good. I mean, underpopulation. What we call underpopulation? Like back 100 years ago, underpopulation would be like 1 million people. Well, 1 billion. Sorry, 1 billion.
Too few people to maintain the infrastructure and the.
Yeah, because you need the
status quo
manpower.
of
Yeah, you need the
society.
manpower.
Right,
and
right,
everything.
right.
Like,
Exactly.
how many people does China have right now? 1.4.
1.4, yeah.
billion?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
China,
a lot.
India,
I heard
very
India's
very
gonna
close,
surpass.
very
India's gonna
close.
surpass
Yeah.
apparently.
Okay.
At one
But
point.
at the same time, like China has a bigger population than it's ever had in its history, but the government is legitimately concerned right now that there will be an underpopulation. In other words, not enough people to support the infrastructure, to
Yeah.
support the older generations, etc.
It is because of the economy. So what I read about Japan and China, Japan is now considered the most aged nation on earth, and I don't want to get too much into it. But the thing is that the seniors, right, over 60, 65, they don't bring as much things to economy. You have to pay them. Right, they don't take loans, they don't buy apartments, they don't buy cars, they don't, they don't make circulation of money in the
Yeah.
economy. And the more seniors you get in your country, the worse is the economic situation in your country. That's why they are very concerned, because a lot of Chinese population is getting really old. So that's where it comes from.
Yeah, that's why China implemented that three-child policy, which is backfiring because a lot of parents, again, it's too expensive to raise a second child.
They've just
Right.
become so accustomed to the one-child policy for
Yeah,
so
yeah.
long, and then they changed it to the two-child policy, and now the three, and now they're thinking about the pretty please have children
Yeah,
at
yeah.
all policy. Don't make us force you to have kids.
Yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
something like that. But everybody is happy to have one child. Second child, okay, on parents' demand, and then grandparents' demand, and the third one is just like, no, just kill me. I don't know. Everybody I know, at least, they're
Exactly.
like, you know what, you raise them. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, the Chinese have become so accustomed to a very specific lifestyle because of the one-child policy. Essentially, putting all of their resources into this one child, to send that one child to a nice school, to give that child everything, to give that child property and inheritance, etc., and dividing that up into 2 or 3 or 4 portions or whatever is just incomprehensible to most folks that I know here. Which is
Yeah.
completely opposite from the way I grew up. I come from a family of 7, and my mom was kind of like the mother in the 3 Little Pigs story, like, all right, everybody, get out and go make your way in the world. Good luck. And I went out here and built my house of straw, so here we are.
Yeah.
So I'm going to push back a little bit on the aliens topic, because we
Let's-
talked about how, the placebo effect and how if you believe, you can see it, and that reminded me of something. That reminded me of religion. Because the idea in most religious faiths is that if you believe, if you have faith, then you can have these mystical experiences, like see God or angels or visions or revelations or feel the Holy Spirit or whatever the situation is, but only if you believe first. And I thought, how interesting. Which made me think of another question. Is God an alien?
Well, he's not on Earth, right? Everything that is not on Earth is an alien.
True.
Huh? Huh?
Okay, yeah.
Huh?
So, extraterrestrial
Then
beings.
did he create Earth though?
Well, hold on. Let's think about the creation account in Genesis, because this is something I'm going to think about for a while. Because if you just read through it once, you probably think, okay, that's a creation story. There are lots of those in a bunch of different cultures throughout the world. But what's interesting and different about the Judeo-Christian creation story is that it's not necessarily a creation story. It's a terraforming story. Because it doesn't say, in the beginning there was nothing. It says, it says that in the beginning the earth was without form and void. It was there. It was there, but it was without form and void. And so we have this extraterrestrial being who comes and terraforms the planet, who seeds it with life, changes the atmosphere. That's the very first thing that God does in the Old Testament, changes the atmosphere, and then seeds it with life, starting in the oceans and then on the land, and then eventually creates mankind in his own image, essentially clones himself, if you will. And then, making a woman, he takes tissue from the man, a rib, it says, and that's debatable among Jewish scholars about what that actually means, but he takes some bodily tissue and then clones a woman. So, if we're putting this in very different terms, in like sci-fi terms, we can look at the Book of Genesis like a sci-fi story about an alien terraforming a planet, a lifeless planet, into a, Earth, an M-class planet if we're using Star Trek terms, and then essentially cloning himself and then cloning the inhabitants thereof. Now this probably sounds crazy when you put it like that, but think about it, mull on that, chew on it for a bit. Is God an alien?
Crunch down.
So in a parallel universe somewhere, we have another world with a kid whose parents bought him a scientific kit.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, they were like, Danny, go play with your scientific kit. It's called Earth. And he's like, oh, man, it's cool. And he starts building up stuff. And then, and he does that, and he's throwing, after that, he's not more interested in it. He throws it under the bed somewhere, and we are there sitting under the bed for zillion years.
It reminds me of that episode from Love, Death, Robots, where the freezer, you open it, it's a civilization. Greg, you ever watch that TV show?
No.
Love, Death,
Oh
Robots.
man, you gotta watch it. It's cool. It's cool.
It's like that. Yeah, they open a freezer and there's like a civilization in the freezer.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like that Simpsons episode where Lisa builds.
Everything we're talking about, it was in Simpsons. So
Nick, your analogy about the
Simpsons predicted the
about God as a kid playing with his little chemistry set, and then he puts it under the bed, forgets about it for a while. That explains so much about dinosaurs. If there's any validity to that, that explains everything about dinosaurs. Because when you're a kid, what's cool?
Dinosaurs.
Giant reptilian monsters.
Jurassic Park.
So if you had a world as your own plaything, and you had the mentality of a child, what would you create on that world? Dragons? I would.
Yeah,
Dinosaurs,
for sure.
Yeah.
It's like in Toy Story, like a couple episodes, then Andy grows up, he invents humans, and then finally he goes to the college, and then we're all alone, sitting under the bed.
Being sold. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, yeah.
Speaking of dragons, have you ever noticed how virtually every culture on this planet has independently invented a myth about dragons?
Mm-hmm.
And the stories differ, like European dragons are generally evil and greedy. Chinese dragons are benevolent and helpful. Japanese dragons can transform into humans sometimes. They even have African dragon myths. They're generally deities. Mesoamerican dragon myths like Quetzalcoatl, who is sometimes pictured as a fiery flying feathered serpent creature, and sometimes as a human with a beard.
Ramsey, are you trying to say dragons are real now? Is that where we are going? Because I'm into it.
They were dinosaurs, there's dragons.
Well, let's consider this for a minute. Are dragons real? Were dragons real? If it's real in your mind, is it real at all?
I don't know. We gotta ask Albus Dumbledore in that last episode of Harry Potter.
Are dragons aliens, says FDP. That's a good question.
I mean, according to how universe was created, if not from the scientific way, right, perspective, we all are aliens. if we ask Neil deGrasse Tyson, he would say that
Aliens, yeah.
we are all aliens because we belong into universe. We were meteor dust once, right?
Exactly.
The Big Bang and all this stuff. Still don't know how people can explain something coming out of nothing. That's the only thing that I cannot understand. But I can understand how the planets are created and how the one form of life transfers to another planet and so on and so on. It's like streams.
Well, I mean, that's like the whole science versus religion. What came first, right? It's like, was it the Big Bang Theory or was it God that created the universe?
Right.
So,
yeah, well, you know,
Do you know the Big Bang Theory was actually formulated by a Catholic priest?
Oh, really? I did not know that.
traitor.
It was.
Traitor.
Yes, a Catholic priest is the guy who came up with the Big Bang Theory. What was his name? Starts with an L. I don't remember. Look it up on Wikipedia. But yeah, the guy who formulated the Big Bang Theory, he was a priest. He was a very religious person. And as far as I understand, his motivation behind the Big Bang Theory was to find a plausible explanation of how God could have created the universe. And it's so fascinating how the idea of the Big Bang is essentially being co-opted by non-religious people as an explanation of a universe without God. So
I mean,
the irony there is fascinating.
Big Bang is a nice theory, but as a theory, I can see how supernovas work and black holes work, right? We are exploring more and more, and we see
Exactly.
the Webb's telescope. Have you seen these images from the Webb's telescope replacing Hubble? Because Hubble's was the thing, right? Now it's Webb's telescope,
Like that
and
latest, one with all
oh
the
man,
galactic
it's
clusters
just
out there.
oh my god, it's just so neat. You literally can see like the trace of galaxies and everything. And we kind of explore how the space works, right? At least how we can understand, because I'm still sure that human being might not understand everything, that like we are not omnidimensional people, right? Creatures, right? Maybe how to explain 4 dimensions or 5 dimensions if we only exist in 3 dimensions? How could we even make up something like 5-dimensional perspective?
It's all theories, not
Yeah,
proven
it's
yet.
all theories, but it could be,
we have
right?
very limited senses. I mean, we talk about the big 5 senses. We actually have more like 72. We have just other senses like proprioception.
Yeah.
What else? Magnetoreception to a small degree, not as great as say pigeons. But we have a bunch of senses, but they're limited. If you look at other animals, some animals have senses that we do not, or they have senses beyond what we have, like a mantis shrimp, you know, the delicious shrimp they eat in Shanghai that look like weird little aliens. Those things can perceive every wavelength of the electromagnetic spectrum, meaning they can see infrared, they can see ultraviolet, they can see gamma rays. All we can see is visible light.
I know snakes can sense earthquakes. I heard Japanese like those seismologists, they're actually using snakes as a way to predict earthquakes.
Yeah.
So whenever they act very differently, it's like,
snakes
oh,
are fascinating.
earthquake.
They feel the earth. They're connected to it on a
exactly.
very, very visceral level, and not only that, they can smell with their tongues. They can essentially see with their tongues.
Yeah.
Like snakes smell the way we see.
Yeah.
And dogs smell and kind of the way we hear and see. It's this weird synesthesis.
Yeah. The
synesthesis,
fish,
if you
they
don't know that
have
word, it's
these stripes, electromagnetic stripes on the side, right?
Yeah.
So when you see the big amount of fish moving together, right? Like one organism, that's the electromagnetic impulses that they are receiving from each other, and they kind of feel the world. That's they don't see much with their eyes, even though they have it, right? But the perception is, and the strange creatures like octopuses, right? Like calmaris.
Yeah.
And squids, yeah, and
You're speaking Italian here, man.
Nautilus, right? You know Nautilus, the creature that has cameras inside, like the air cameras, right? The camera or whatever it's called, right? And it controls the pressure when it dives. Like it has 5 to 8 different compartments for the air.
Like lungs.
It's like a gas. When
Gills. Yeah.
it's when the same principle as the submarine works. So they just either inhale the gas or play with the pressure there, and they're going up and down, and and it's just like same like a shrimp, right? Not a big deal, but it has the system, which is very advanced, and the scientists of 21st century or 20th century actually only could kind of mimic the same thing.
Yeah, the point is that all of these animals, even dumb animals with fairly simple brains, if you will, have these senses far beyond anything that humans will ever be able to do with our bodies. And yet, we have the arrogance to think that what we perceive is all there is.
Right.
We look up in the night sky with that telescope and we see visible light. And if a mantis shrimp were to look up there, it would see an infinite variety more than that. What it would see, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe it would see God up there. No idea. Maybe it would see aliens. Maybe it would see the flying saucers. I don't know.
Also beyond the universe.
But the point is, there's a limit to what we can see, what we can perceive, what we can feel, what we can even think about. So, how do we go beyond that? Is the question.
I don't know.
Just advanced technology. I mean, technological advancement. We just gotta wait. We gotta build a Starship Enterprise.
Explore strange new worlds,
Warp speed.
new civilizations.
Engage.
And I always had this theory that there are always a species that are more advanced than the other species. So even on planet Earth, right, we have ants, we have cats, dogs, monkeys, dolphins, humans, right? Or we have bacteria. Those are also species, right? Creatures. And we are not the top of the chain, not on Earth, right? There are of varieties that we could face somebody that for whom we are like cats. Can you explain math to a cat? Maybe a little bit, but can you explain?
I don't think even a little bit to a cat.
I don't know. I mean, you can try.
Maybe to a dog, but definitely not a cat.
No, yeah, fuck cats. Sorry to wear this T-shirt.
Are you a cat person?
I'm general, animal lover, so I'm cool. I'm cool. Oh, this is the brand that the Georgian guy is running. Demna Balenciaga is Demna. I don't remember. Is Georgian.
Is this product placement? Pimp it out, Nick. Pimp it out.
If I become if oh yeah, this is also right.
I got my T-shirt from xmarshall.com. Use my code Ramsey10 for 10% off everything.
Well,
Dang.
Balenciaga didn't pay me anything, so I don't know. Demna, if you hear that, if you for some reasons are watching this podcast, contact me. I'll be I'll appreciate that. But yeah, anyway. So yeah,
So are you saying like there's something more advanced than humans already on Earth, like
not
monsters?
not on
What if
Earth,
there
I
is?
think. Maybe
Like
there
Bigfoot.
is.
Bigfoot, Loch Ness monster, or something like
How
that.
about plants? Now, think about this for a minute. I was talking to my wife about this yesterday.
Mushrooms.
It's something I think about a lot.
Mushrooms got something on us.
Well, fungus in general, because fungus isn't just like the mushroom. The mushroom's like, it's almost like a skin cell. It's superficial.
The
What's
roots,
underneath is this
yeah.
giant mycelial network of,
It is, yeah.
it's almost like this vast intelligence comparable to the neural network of a brain, and it goes all over the soil. And this is something a lot
It's
of people...
huge too. It's like all over the land.
Yeah, something a lot of people don't understand about soil is that soil is alive. Like it needs that fungus in order to generate plants. It's got this complex biome with thousands, maybe millions of living organisms.
I think I read that
It's not just dirt.
on Infographics YouTube. It said that it's the largest living organism on Earth.
Yeah.
That
So
fungus.
what if that mycelial network was a hive mind, or the plants? What if the plants were a hive mind, and we think, oh, we're so much more advanced than them because we're faster? There are lots of animals faster than us. We try to swat a fly or a mosquito and just couldn't
There's
get
a
it.
there's a movie, the M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Happening, where the plants are killing people.
I think somebody mentioned
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I was just like, okay. So maybe they're alive. They're watching us. So.
Well, plants are definitely alive. Whether or not they're watching us or aware of us or they care about us or not, I don't know. But they move very slowly. They do move. They do compete with each other for resources, sunlight and soil and water and so on. But they just move so slowly we tend to ignore them, which might be part of their strategy. But what if plants were like a hive mind, kind of like some insects like bees or ants, and they have this collective intelligence that just blows ours out of the water. And we often think, oh, well, we're more advanced than we used to be. Plants are kind of the same as they were. But what if plants have already reached the apex of evolution, if you will? What if they have it figured out, like, this is the greater good?
Yeah, probably. Well, everything could... we have our own perception of everything and intelligence as well. So we can only judge from our perspective of what is intelligence, right? Even from our perspective, like, what is intelligence? If I ask you guys, even I cannot explain properly what is for me an intelligence, right? So it's a very hard question, and we judge every species on Earth and beyond from the perspective of our perception of human beings, vision and what is going around us and how we think should be, how is a normal way for us, right? But there could be a lot of, it's a lot of it's a big complex question,
Yeah. Oh, intelligence, man. Ugly Stupid Loser says, dude, guy in black shirt is based. I'm a fan. Nick, you got a fan.
Woohoo! Thank you.
Maybe let's take a few questions from the comments
Yeah.
section right now. All right, guys, we're gonna open up the chat to
Q&A.
Q&A.
Woo!
Q&A with the coach and Jourdan Chow and Nick Aliev. We haven't talked about the Shanghai lockdown.
Oh my God, let's do it.
Backtrack. Before we open this up for Q&A, we're going to talk about the Shanghai lockdown. So the last time I made a video about the Shanghai lockdown, I was locked down again for an additional 9 days, and then I got out. I moved to a new apartment complex. Yeah, that was kind of complex because I was trying to do the move a little bit before the lockdown, and then the lockdown shut that all down. Anyway.
It was ugly.
Yeah.
For me, it started in March. Like when we get locked, Puxi, our side of Shanghai, got locked down first, right?
Yeah.
April 1st, right? So March 17 or something, we got locked with my wife. We have been taken to quarantine facilities because in the school where I teach.
You got taken to a quarantine
Yes,
facility.
because in the school where I teach, the kid had a case, and apparently they were like, okay, whatever. One kid, they isolated the kid, and then the government came and they were like, you know what, you all gonna go to the
Isolated
quarantine. So
everybody.
everyone, students, 200 students, and around 70, 80 people of staff, has been taken to different facilities. And we started our quarantine middle of March. It was cool, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the hotel
They had
was...
a lot of different
Yeah, man,
quarantine camps.
there were a lot-
from, like, converted
Yeah,
schools.
I've seen a lot of bad ones.
The thing
It's really
is,
bad.
we had no case. We were close contact. That's why they put us in a good facility. Maybe also because we were foreigners. I don't know. Maybe because we were in Jinan, which is downtown.
So they were worried you might go on a podcast and talk about it?
Yeah, but man, my friends who were infected.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that
Foreigners
was
or Chinese?
foreigners, Chinese, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Even like they didn't feel anything, but the test said yes, you're
Yeah.
positive. Oh wow! And I heard so much like we all did,
Yeah.
right, on WeChat
I've seen
moments.
videos of it. It's so bad.
Oh my
It's like
God!
living in sewers.
I liked how they lived in this the booth where nothing was there, and then the rain started, and it all was leaking. That's like a construction booth, whatever, where the workers used to live, and they just assembled everything in like 2 hours, and people were living in those things. And Expo Center, Shanghai Expo Center, the huge hangars.
Oh,
People
they
just
changed the expo center into a
yeah,
co-working
because I was working there near
Yeah.
that Expo Center, and I was sometimes even working on Expo Center because I was playing there. I'm a musician, by the way, and I know this Expo Center. Oh my, it's a huge, huge, huge expo, and they just like the huge place, huge space, all public bathrooms.
Yeah,
Imagine
the
people.
2009 World's Fair here in
Yeah, yeah.
Shanghai.
Yeah. Imagine all those people, thousands of people in one hangar, and all of them are sick. That was a sick,
Yeah.
the facility
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sick
So they're all
people.
coughing on each other and stuff.
Yeah, all like mature dudes and.
And you and
Oh
your
my
wife
God.
weren't even infected. You just
No. We were just like
killed by association.
yes. So we were taken there, and then we came back.
How long were you there for?
2 weeks.
Like,
2 weeks, and then we had to do 7 days at home. So we came. The 7th day was March 31st,
yeah.
and we had it when everything already shut it down. So we had to go out, buy some food because
You actually
also-
went out?
yes, because 31st was our day when we were free. So we could go out for 1 day,
Oh,
just
okay.
buy some food.
This
You-
was before the whole city was locked down.
Yeah, that was 31st of
Ah,
March.
okay,
The whole
okay.
city got locked on April 1st, right?
Yeah.
So we went there. We barely found anything because
Yeah, the shelves were
everything was
stripped,
taken. Well, there was
Yeah.
like
Even-
Especially the ramen noodles. I don't know what it is about Chinese and ramen noodles, but
It's so easy to make. It's so fast. It's
Yeah.
like- and you can store them. You can store them.
First thing to go.
Yeah. That's
Man.
one thing about lockdowns is that always buy preserved food, like canned food. Yeah.
thanks to my wife, who was I don't like storing things at home, but she would be like, let's buy this and let's buy that, and I was like, you are buying too much stuff. And then when they locked us, and there was no food, like
And you
literally
realize she
no
was
food.
right
Yeah.
the whole time.
And my wife was like, "Who's laughing now?" You know. So who was right? I was like, "Sorry."
Exactly. Yeah.
Now
Exactly.
she is officially permitted to buy anything she wants and store anything.
It was so bad. Like even like people, even like neighbors were stealing food from each other because they were desperate.
Yeah.
Like so that's why whenever food came, I would always have to like wait for the delivery guy to actually give it to me.
Otherwise somebody would take it.
Yeah, otherwise someone
I
would
saw
just take
that
it.
happen.
Yeah. That didn't happen much in our compound. That happened a couple times when neighbors complained, like, "Where's my package?" and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I don't. And the worst thing is that in our building, okay, we're 2 people, right? But sometimes people break the rules, and like one landlord lets 10 of people live in the apartment, even though by law he cannot do that. And the government, when they bring food, they only count on
Yeah, they just bring one package.
one
for like
package
a
for whatever.
Family of 3, basically.
Exactly,
If
yeah.
that.
It's not
Exactly.
even 3. It's like a cabbage, 3
Yeah.
carrots, like 1 potato, and
Exactly,
10
yeah.
eggs.
Yeah,
What
to
are you
be
gonna do
very-
for a week?
During the whole lockdown, we got, I think it was 2, maybe 3 communist care packages from the government,
Mhm.
which, yes, consisted of basically a carrot, a cabbage. One of them had a can of Spam in it, like Chinese
Yeah,
automated
yeah,
Spam.
I think.
Yeah.
And at
As-
one point they sent a bag of rice that had weevils in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like,
It's-
besides the rice, it was a total of maybe like 300 calories of food
It's,
intended to last an entire family for, what, 2-3
yeah,
months?
and some of the food was even spoiled. Like the vegetables were already bad.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah,
We
it
threw
was-
some.
really felt like a Jew in a concentration camp. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
Oh, there were people in actual concentration
Yeah.
camps, man, like...
And Pudong was even worse because they got locked down 5 days before us, right? That's like
Yeah.
left and right side
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Shanghai River. for
And the
those
lockdown
who-
was only supposed to happen for 5 days. They said, but I knew it was BS. I knew it was. I was like, okay, that's never gonna happen.
Yeah, first
It
it
lasted
lasted
for
2 days, then 4 days, then 5.
And it lasted for 3 months.
So people
3
from
months.
Pudong, as they experienced this one, they were shouting at people at Pussy. They were like, buy food. You won't have any food. And people in
and they
Pussy
were right.
were smart people. Of course,
Exactly.
they bought something, but people who were like, oh, well, they said 5 days, like me, well, 5 days will be okay. 5 Damn, if not my wife, I would be starving.
Exactly. Yeah.
Same, man. Food storage. That is the reason we were able to survive.
Yeah, no water for 10 days. We didn't have
Yes.
water.
Yeah,
we,
that too.
we were boiling with the water, even though I cannot drink this water. It makes
Yeah.
me really
if,
bad.
If
Yeah.
you don't know, for the folks watching, Shanghai does not have potable tap water like they have in the U.S. and
And like
and
most
other-
Western countries.
yeah, Western countries. The water it's essentially laced with heavy metals.
Toxic and everything.
Yeah,
So
so-
boiling it doesn't get rid of that. You would have to use some.
Boiling gets rid of germs and stuff, but
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
it's not
no heavy
germs.
metals.
I
And
don't think germs can live
I know-
in Shanghai tap water. Actually,
yeah. I know, like
think
Chinese
so?
people, they can probably drink it because they were born with it. They're used to it. They have the stomach for
you
it.
know the one of the sixth leading cause of death in China is stomach cancer.
Oh, really?
I'm not drinking that
The
water
sixth
anymore.
leading cause of death in China is stomach cancer, and water with lead and
Exactly.
all that other stuff in it, mercury, who knows what else.
Yeah, exactly. That's why a lot of people, foreigners, they're leaving because of what happened. And it's actually very hard for even coming into China. That's why a lot of schools are looking for teachers. They're desperately looking.
Yeah.
And all these schools like asking me, "Hey, are you looking for a job?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. But thank you for asking."
I've been
Yeah.
offered a lot of jobs in the
Yeah.
last month.
Yeah, because it's hard to get like a
Like a
visa.
lot.
It's hard for foreigners to actually come to China. Because
Yeah.
like I even heard like for me, in order to come back to China, I need to get a Chinese vaccine. It couldn't be any other vaccine. It couldn't be Pfizer or Moderna. It had to be specifically from China.
Oh, really?
But in Canada we didn't have it. I had to go to Ecuador just to get it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I went all the way to Ecuador just to get a Chinese vaccine,
Oh
and then I
my
applied for my visa. And
God.
What's
I thought.
fascinating about that to me is that they never had vaccine mandates in Shanghai, but after the Shanghai lockdown, there were a similar number of cases discovered in Beijing, and they decided, yeah, let's not do what we did in Shanghai. Let's just have mandatory vaccines in Beijing, which made me think, okay, wait a minute. If vaccines would be enough to just circumvent the whole lockdown situation, why didn't we just do that? That would have saved probably like $120 billion in lost revenue. It would have saved a lot of lives and I'm not even talking about lives from the COVID. Like COVID wasn't the real threat during the lockdown. Honestly, it was scarcity. It was
So many people died because
Yeah.
of different things, because of the
Yeah.
health conditions, and they could not get a treatment.
starvation. There was one story about a teacher from South Africa who
Yeah.
apparently, I think you read about it. Yeah,
No.
she died because she didn't have any food.
Yeah.
Nobody was able to help her. Yeah, she didn't
Jeez.
speak Chinese and
she was
everything.
a friend of
Oh my God.
a friend of my wife.
Oh, really?
Okay, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So you can imagine, if that's just one person, imagine like how many dead people will be in their office.
Yeah.
in their
If
apartment.
you are an asthmatic, for example, and you run out of the medicine,
Yeah.
or you have
Inha-
heart
inhalers.
problems,
Yeah.
you cannot call the ambulance. That's it. It's not
Exactly.
working.
Exactly.
It's all shot. It was actually, I mean, we are happy that we are healthy, we're young still, right? We're not mature that we have like health conditions. But think about from the senior perspective, right?
Yeah.
Man,
Exactly.
it's a disaster.
Yeah.
I've seen people jumping out of the buildings.
Oh yeah,
Just
yeah.
like-
There was a video of that went censored on WeChat. Of like people committing suicide.
Yeah, I like how they said like, moment they posted, 5 minutes, boom,
Yeah.
erased the video.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
the lockdown has caused more damage than COVID itself. Not just in China, in the world. Like a lot of people lost their jobs as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Horrible.
And now people are saying, "Oh, what if monkeypox?" Because I heard recently the United States issued a
Yes.
That's right, yeah.
Monkeypox. Oh man.
and now they're saying, "What if
Before we
monkeypox?"
talk about
becomes another-"
monkeypox, some guy sent in a super chat and he's requesting that I say please say, for the streets, yo. So I guess, just to bring a moment of levity to this otherwise very serious discussion, for the streets,
For the
yo.
streets.
Yo. How do I do it?
I don't know what I'm doing.
I do things for the
Other
streets.
hand signs, making some up.
For the streets. I do things for the streets.
All right, back to monkeypox. For the streets, monkeypox for the streets. Oh man, that sounds terrible.
Monkeypox is not that contagious, I guess.
It's compared to COVID.
So I think if we want, if
What
China
method
applies the
of
same
transmission?
methods of fighting with,
Bang, bang.
I barely know anything about monkeypox. I saw a couple of things on the internet saying it was higher amongst people in the gay community for some reason. I don't know. Is it a sexually transmitted disease?
I think so. Yeah. I
it's
heard-
it's
What's
all
the
it's all
method?
it's
It's like by fluid.
saliva.
By fluid, yeah.
You can touch person with fluid is the thing, and raw meat, undercooked meat.
Oh.
Yeah.
You folks out there who love your steaks rare, beware.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That was the first, actually, how it transmitted to a human with meat first, and then fluids and
Well, we're all gonna be
Yeah.
locked down with masks and forced to be vegans now. My goodness.
I'm okay. I'm vegan,
For
so
He's a vegan. He's like, yeah, nothing new here.
nothing changes for me.
Vegans are like, yes.
So for monkeypox, did they already find a vaccine for it? That's a smallpox vaccine, isn't it? Or cowpox vaccine?
I don't know.
I think I read. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I remember reading about that.
Not sure.
So
I
Or is
don't.
Jordan, are you propagating medical misinformation on YouTube?
Oh my god.
You
Well, the
get
thing about-
canceled for that.
We don't know this guy. We just met. I swear.
They found monkeypox in Taiwan, so who knows? It could come to China anytime soon.
I don't want to think about that, man. It's not the monkeypox I'm scared of. It's the
The quarantine
it's the
measures.
Chinese
Yeah,
response to
Yeah.
pandemics that is just like
Yeah, like the whole
yeah.
world has
I-
learned to
yeah.
deal with COVID, except China. They still want that zero COVID policy.
I didn't mind
China
getting
dealt with
COVID
it
actually.
really well for like 2 years, and then right when Jourdan Chow comes back, Jourdan has an interesting story because
Jordan, what's wrong?
when Jordan
Huh?
left China, he left China and he basically ended up going country to country and getting locked down in every single one.
Yeah,
So you've
I've
been
been
like, locked down
In
in
3 countries, including
3
China.
countries.
China was by far the worst.
And while Jordan was gone, China was great. We had this level of freedom that was
I am COVID.
pretty much unsurpassed by most of the rest of the world. And it was like, man, why doesn't the rest of the world get their act together like China? Suddenly, Jordan comes back, boom, we got this crazy lockdown.
Eunice actually said that too about me.
It's following you. You're like,
Yeah.
you're like Jonah from that story. You know the story of Jonah? He's like, God commands
The
him
ark?
to go to preach repentance to the people of Nineveh, and he's like, no, I don't want to go because they're a bunch of jerks. And so he gets on a boat to like sneak away to escape from God's command, and then a storm arises and it's going to sink the ship, and the people are all, what do we do? What do we do? And Jonah's like, oh man, it's me, it's my fault. Throw me off the ship. So
Yeah.
Jordan is Jonah in
I'm
this
gonna-
situation.
Change my Instagram name to that. I am COVID. I am Jonah. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, like I said, it was great for like 2 years, and suddenly it took a heel face turn, quick.
I remember reading that they blamed it on Hong Kong because I think it came from Shenzhen, and then that's when it made its way to Shanghai. So because they said a lot of people from Hong Kong, because Hong Kong was doing really bad at one point, and that's when a lot of Hong Kong. Yeah, but then you know the politics going on, right? You know they blame it on someone. No, let's just blame it on Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's always
cases,
Yeah.
but they seem to track
Let's blame
them
it on
fairly well.
Taiwan.
It's just in these last few months, the government decided to crack down. They're like, let's get rid of this once and for all. I don't know if that's even possible. But right now they're claiming 0 cases in Shanghai. But for how long?
until the elections.
Until the election.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's a good point because the current president is seeking office again, and there's a lot of speculation that if he gets back in, then the COVID zero thing is going to die down. Kind of like when Trump was running for president and he ran under the let's build a wall between the U.S. and Mexico platform, and a lot of people got excited and a lot of people got angry about that. But then after he got elected, the wall never happened. It was like, it just sort of disappeared out of the conversation.
Yeah.
I'm feeling that it might be a similar issue to that. Like after the
There's a lot of talks, but there's nothing happens.
Yeah.
People talk, but not walk.
But all I can say, being an expat now in Shanghai, the things got worse, much worse.
Even Chinese people were
recently.
upset. A lot of Chinese people are trying to leave as well. So.
Yeah, we got every week there is a farewell party. Just
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
It's
I heard a lot of Chinese
frustrating.
people have been getting denied leaving, like at
Yeah.
the customs. They'll just say no, you can't leave.
yeah,
It's like what?
and they
friend
don't
of
give
mine-
foreign passports now, right? To if you don't have a passport now, you cannot get the passport to travel abroad.
I think so. Yeah.
a friend of mine just got approved for a visa. I think he had to apply like 3 times in a row or something like that. Got denied and then eventually got approved just recently.
Yeah.
But he told me that in order to get approved, he had to prove intent to return to China.
Yeah,
Without
there,
that,
there,
they won't let you
so I heard the stories, and my friends checked, and it's true. When they were leaving in terminal, they had to fill out the paper, and there were questions on that paper saying, "Why are you leaving Shanghai? Are you going to come back? How was your COVID situation? Did it affect your family and stuff?" So they had to fill up this questionnaire. I don't know what's going on, but I mean, before I left, right? I left pre-COVID, got stuck on Bali for 9 months almost, and then came back, and it was 500,000 foreigners here. After, so 2022 is, I think it's already less than 100,000 foreigners left.
Ooh, that's
So it's a big decrease. It's a huge decrease.
Ooh, it's 1 out of every 5 that stayed.
Yeah, we all are here. But I mean, I today I sent my passport to Canadian embassy, and I'm waiting for Canadian visa. And so long, China.
Oh, you're taking off?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
probably soon. We gave 1 year to all of this, and probably we're gonna, because my wife already has a Canadian visa for 6 years, and
Okay.
Probably.
Canada.
Maybe I'll see you there. Then.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which city? Which
Toronto.
city? Toronto.
Yeah.
We have a choice of going to Toronto or Vancouver. So
Okay.
we're choosing.
Yeah.
Between.
Vancouver's nicer, but it's more expensive.
That's what everybody told me. But
And it rains a lot, but there's no snow, which is good.
That's the only part of Canada I'm familiar with.
Okay.
I have an aunt that lives there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Vancouver, nice place. It does rain a lot.
Yeah, the West Coast, yeah.
also has mountains
Yeah.
and bay.
I mean, it's just like against the U.S. I always prefer the West Coast over East Coast. I mean, I like New York. I prefer, like, California, that part. I think the weather's nicer, looks nicer.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We'll see.
I've
We'll
seen
see.
more of China than I've seen of the U.S. Like, I've never been to the East Coast.
You ever been to New York?
No, I've never been east of Texas, actually, except for the Miami airport. Just flying through on my way to South America. Yeah, I've seen more of China than the U.S.
Yeah,
Odd to think about that.
probably. Let's do Q&A.
Yeah, let's do some
Sure.
Q&A. All right,
Q&A.
everybody, we are officially opening up the chat to questions from the audience.
About anything or about aliens specifically?
Probably everything.
Only about aliens. I'm just saying, whatever we want. We can talk about martial arts. We can talk about aliens, the lockdown, whatever your questions are for anybody still hanging out. So leave us some questions and we'll read them. Okay, let's take a look. See if we missed any questions. We have a lot of discussion here about aliens in the comments. I'm just
Woohoo.
backtracking through the
Let's do it.
Do you think Elon Musk is an alien? Trying to go back to Mars? That's one.
Reptilite.
Brandon Bradley wants to talk about UFC versus ONE FC. What's a better show? What do you think?
I went to both. I went to UFC Shanghai, ONE FC Shanghai. So UFC Shanghai was with Michael Bisping.
Yeah.
Calvin Gaston.
Yeah, Gaston.
I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there
And
too.
then
Yeah.
UFC, Ben Askren was the main card versus your friend, the other guy.
Oh, Seb.
Yeah, him.
Sebastian.
And in my opinion, I actually thought ONE FC was more entertaining because there was a lot of audience interaction. They always say things like, "Who do you think did better in this fight?" Let me hear you say, like that. Look at the audience.
Where was ONE
interact.
FC?
Oh, this was a while back. I think 2016.
Yeah, where?
But they held it here in Shanghai.
Yeah, in Shanghai. The Mercedes.
Same place?
Yeah, same place.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I thought ONE FC was just more entertaining. Whereas UFC, it was kind of like, okay, here's your fight. Okay, next opponent. Okay, here it is. Okay, next opponent. That was it. So I was a bit disappointed, but it was still good. I just thought ONE FC was better.
I never seen ONE FC, so
I like global rules over unified rules because if you're not familiar with the rule differences, global rules are the rule set used by ONE FC. Unified rules are the rule set used by the UFC. Right. The main difference is knees and kicks to the head of a down fighter.
That's how Demetrius Johnson got knocked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So if a down fighter, you can knee him in the head in ONE FC. And
so you like this more?
I like that more. It's a more
Me too.
honest expression of combat. Now, a lot of people get really excited about soccer kicks to the head, but that's not the game-changing move. It's the knees to the downed opponent that are. Soccer kicks, a standing fighter kicking a down fighter, that generally only happens when the guy on the floor is no longer intelligently defending himself, and the fight should stop anyway. So essentially, they're already on the way out when they get the soccer kick, and the ref is just kind of not doing his job at that point. So, again, soccer kicks, I don't care about them. But the knees to a downed opponent, knees from sprawl control, knees from side control,
from
knees
dog,
from knee
from dog
mount
control,
as
yeah,
well.
just boom.
I mean, these are game-changing moves that change the sport substantially
I
and
agree.
create a huge sense of urgency on the bottom.
Makes it more exciting too, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Like
So-
you can't be complacent in either position.
Mhm.
So I think it's a much more exciting rule set. It's a much more honest rule set.
I also prefer like the fights from ONE FC because UFC is just all MMA, whereas ONE FC it's like MMA, Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing, like
yeah,
that.
that's true. They've
So-
got Muay Thai events.
Yeah, Muay Thai events. Yeah, so it's like a big good.
Yeah, I would
combination
say
mix.
ONE FC is more Muay Thai oriented than like I've seen a lot of Muay Thai fights from ONE FC.
Yeah, there's a guy that fights Liam Harrison. He's you know who he is? Yeah,
Mhm,
yeah. I really like his fights. And he's I think he has a fight coming up soon on ONE FC.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's good.
Yeah, man. I enjoy watching Rawtang fight.
Oh, Rodley.
Oh
yeah.
man,
him versus Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson.
Liam
sorry.
Neeson.
Liam Neeson.
Liam Harrison.
Got
Sorry.
skills.
I have a set of
Skills to make him
skills.
a
Sorry, Liam.
Good luck.
I would pay to watch Liam Neeson. Sweet. Versus Rod Tang. Great. Awesome.
Did you watch Mighty Mouse and Rawtang fight?
I did not see that fight.
No.
Man, it was so excited.
I've been so backed up. in
It was
busy life, I didn't know
so
what to
kickboxing MMA.
Yeah.
Nice.
Who ended up winning that one? Spoil it for me, please.
Mighty Mouse.
Okay.
He choked Rawtang.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember that one.
So he.
But man, it was so exciting.
Whether
It was
the
good,
Muay
yeah.
Thai round or rounds, how many rounds?
No, it was Muay Thai. 3 minutes every round.
Okay.
3 minute Muay Thai, then 3 minute MMA, then 3 minute Muay Thai. Four
So the fight
rounds.
lasted 4
So like
rounds.
2-2.
Yeah, choke in the end. Okay.
No, they fought the second round. He
Second
got
round.
Oh, second round finish. Okay.
My
Yeah.
MMA,
What a lot
that's
of
it.
people
But he
predicted.
put a lot of pressure and a lot of damage on Mighty Mouse when during the first
In
round.
the first round, yeah.
But I mean, dude, think about it. Like Muay Thai is cool, yes, but MMA is still all skills combined together. So it's very hard to if you are
Definitely.
only a standing.
Yeah.
It's more well-rounded. You gotta be more
Yeah,
well-rounded.
yeah.
It's like Demetrius Johnson
Basically,
knew.
if you don't know how
gotta
to wrestle,
you gotta choke him. You gotta
don't
grab
belong in
him.
a cage fight.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
Hey,
gotta
even
grab
like Ben Askren,
Askren,
right?
yeah.
He was
He's a wrestler.
he was a wrestler, but he couldn't punch. But yes, he could last for 1, 2, 3 fights
Yeah.
for some reasons. I don't know, because he was shooting the very first second.
Yeah.
But
His
I mean,
wrestling was like
yes,
yeah,
but
like wrestling, striking.
but
Not
then
just wrestling, but MMA wrestling. It's a
yeah,
different thing.
yeah.
I had this experience the other day. I was teaching basically a private lesson on MMA. This guy comes in. He has some boxing experience and some jiu-jitsu experience. He's a pretty good boxer and a pretty good jiu-jitsu guy. And we just did some MMA sparring. And before that, we did this drill, the touching toes drill. Have I done this with you
Yeah,
guys?
yeah, numerous times.
Okay. It's a basic wrestling drill. You try to touch the other person's foot. Don't let them touch your foot, and just compete. One touch is 1 point. Get as many points as you can during the round. So we did this a couple of times. Then we do the same thing. The goal is still touch the foot, but now you can punch each other.
Mm.
And this is an amazing drill to up your MMA wrestling and MMA boxing game at the same time. And so we did this, and then we did MMA sparring, and afterwards he was like, my mind is blown. Because I always thought MMA was just, jiu-jitsu plus wrestling plus kickboxing plus boxing, and now I realize it's its own sport. I'm like, oh, who does that sound like? That sounds like me on the internet preaching to people about this. But it's true. It's a unique skill set. It looks a lot like other skill sets, but it's not. Yeah, Ben Askren was very good at wrestling for MMA. Not so much good at striking for MMA, but good at wrestling for MMA.
Yeah, but then he got his ass whooped
By Jake Paul. Yeah.
In a boxing match.
by Jack Paul, by who was this guy who kicked him in the
Oh, Masvidal.
need him? Yeah, George Masvidal.
The flying knee.
Yeah, Jorge just
Yeah.
like,
Fastest knockout in
Yeah.
history. Yeah.
and that's it. You cannot approach MMA with only one skill set. You have to
Yeah.
be well-rounded fighter in all aspects.
I heard
No.
Jake Paul's recent fight got canceled, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
Against,
he was going to have a match against someone who was considered a legit boxer.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't remember who, but that got pulled.
Got pulled.
Speaking of crazy boxing matches, DKU, famous Korean internet martial arts guru, versus Manny Pacquiao. Apparently
December. It's gonna happen December.
This is in the works. In December.
I don't know both.
I hate everything about this match.
I
I hate everything about it.
wonder how Brad feels.
Oh man, Bradley Scott.
Yeah.
If you don't know the story, Bradley Scott, he's a former UFC fighter.
Fight perfect.
Yep, formerly of the Fight Perfect channel, and he had a boxing match with DKU. DKU arranged this match in Korea. Oh, there was some shenanigans going on, but even in spite of the shenanigans, Bradley Scott whooped him a little bit, and then afterwards DKU. He
made a video or something?
Well, a lot of people made videos about it. They made commentary videos about it. DKU essentially sued them all, got all their videos pulled down off of YouTube. Everything that made him look bad in that fight got pulled down off
Wow.
YouTube. He gave out a copyright strike somehow. I'm not sure how that was legal, in spite of the Fair Use Act. And the only official version of the video was the one on his channel that basically edited out most of the fight, all the parts where he's getting punched and beaten up, and hugging and falling on his face, and only the parts where he looked somewhat passable.
Okay.
So, one of the reasons I hate everything about this matchup between Manny Pacquiao and DKU is that in spite of the fact that he is going to lose, even if it's an exhibition, he's going to lose.
By decision.
Whether it's a decision or Manny decides to get aggressive and knock him out, which probably won't happen, but
Yeah.
he's not going to look good in this fight. But he is going to edit just chop up that fight to get moments where maybe he threw a jab and got close
Yeah.
or something, and grazed Manny on the forehead or something, and say, "See, I punched Manny Pacquiao, I'm amazing," and all of his fans are gonna bow down like, "Oh, you're so great, oh, you boxed a legend, you're so cool."
I'm so
It's like
happy. I didn't know
propaganda.
this guy.
It's like propaganda and everything, yeah. Yeah. You see this 5-palm heart exploring technique? I did that once on Manny Pacquiao.
So you don't know
Slowed
what
him down.
DKU is. Okay, he's this Korean guy. He kind of touts himself as the second coming of Bruce Lee.
Like self-defense expert.
Oh yeah.
And he's
Of course.
supposedly an expert
Of course he is.
in every fighting style. Like he's a master of Tai Chi, a master of Jeet Kune Do, a master of karate and Krav Maga and everything.
Okay, yeah.
And he puts on all these demos like, you know, Bruce Lee did the 1-inch punch. DKU does the 0-inch punch.
He just holds his hand like this, like Kill Bill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No space. He doesn't even open the hand. Doesn't even move when people fly across.
Nice. Okay,
He's
you
probably also a master
send
of
me the
Bushido
link.
and no-touch
Send me
knockouts
the
and all
link.
of
But he has a huge follower. He has like 1 million subscribers.
I like how, you know, this kind of audience, this kind of audience follows, or this kind of people get the huge audience. It's just like, it's like Joseph Goebbels, you know, the gross lie. You have to be very committed to your lie. You have to believe in what you lie about, and then everybody gonna follow
It
you.
makes you wonder, like, how are these self-defense experts able to get so many subscribers, right, compared to like other just coaches, MMA coaches, right? And I think
Because MMA coaches,
It's like the worse you are
sorry.
at martial arts, the more subscribers you get on YouTube.
and I feel like it's because
Almost.
the things that
with
they
a few
teach
exceptions.
is like so simple. They say anyone can learn it.
Yeah,
Therefore,
yeah,
everyone's like, okay, subscribe. Whereas the reality is to actually go to a gym and train.
Yeah,
A lot
yeah.
of them don't want to. They're like, oh no, I don't want to do it. I don't have time.
yeah.
It's too hard.
For sure, man. One person teaches you, okay, learn this one punch, and you will be winning all your battles. And then you click on any other legit person, and they would be like, now you have to spend 5 to 10 hours a week at the gym and doing these moves every time for 3 years, and then you will be legit. And they will be like, this guy just told me one punch, man.
Yeah. I think that's how it is. Yeah.
People want entertainment, not work. They want entertainment, not work. I think something's going on YouTube right now. Like a lot of channels with big followings, a lot of subscribers are tanking, like getting just a fraction of their viewership. And this is kind of shocking. Not really, because this sort of thing happens on YouTube all the time, but I've noticed this with the martial arts community, like, say, Shane Faison, the Fight Tips guy. He's the only martial arts YouTuber with over 1 million subscribers who has actually been in a fight before. And right now, he's putting out better content than he ever has in his career.
What's his name?
Shane Faison, the Fight Tips
Oh,
guy.
okay, yeah.
Like, in my opinion, he's putting out better content than he ever has in his career. He's wiser, he's older, he's smarter than he's ever been in his career, and he's getting a tiny fraction of his former viewers on his videos, and it's kind of sad, to be honest. And it's not just him; it's a lot of people.
Maybe content.
Maybe these things that he's teaching now are more advanced, and people don't just want to, you know.
Well, I would say they're more honest, and they're more real, and they're more effective. Like, he put out a recent video about three mistakes he made as a younger man in boxing, and how he fixed them, and it made his boxing better. And they're really simple things, like connect your footwork to your hands and so on. You know, things that make a huge difference, but they're boring. They're not fun, and they're not exciting.
Yeah.
But
instead, he had to teach how to do a cartwheel kick from the jumping off the second floor or something. You know?
yeah,
The
pretty
Matrix wall rock.
pretty much. So generally, people hate technique videos. So it's kind of surprising that a channel predominantly focused on technique videos became as popular as it did. But yeah.
It took us maybe 30 minutes to answer one Q&A.
Okay, second question.
I love it.
Oh, we got a question from Ed. Ed says, did you see the latest Benny the Jet interview on the Viking Samurai channel? I did, actually. He told a crazy true story of a real-life kumite-like fight in Hong Kong. Yeah, if you didn't see that one, go check it out. Benny tells his own story better than I do. But yeah, it's a crazy story. He was in Hong Kong or something. He was approached by some people who offered him a bunch of money to go fight. He was expecting like a exhibition kickboxing match, and it turned out to be like a secret underground death fight or something.
Nice.
So, yeah, crazy story. Yeah, it's a good one.
I always remember him from like those Jackie Chan movies. So
Yeah, like Meals on Wheels.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
was
that
the other
one.
They did a
Dragon
couple.
Forever.
Dragons Forever.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what.
Yes.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
was a good
Benny the
one.
Jet. He's a good dude.
good.
Okay, what other questions do we have? Brandon Bradley says, Dewey and the Gang. Well, we have a nickname now. Dewey and the Gang. Have you thought of doing a YouTube commentary on UFC and one like T-Bone MMA? I don't know who T-Bone MMA is or what that's like. I have thought about doing commentary on the UFC, but in my case it wouldn't be live, because over here in China, UFC comes on Sunday mornings, and I'm a good church-going Mormon, so sorry. When I watch UFC, it's always ex post facto. But if you guys want to talk about UFC fights ex post facto, we can do that. Peter loves technique videos. Peter, you're one of the chosen ones, man. You're one of those dudes who gets out there and trains, man.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Man, usually I can't stop you guys from asking questions, but... All right, we have a few more. Zed. Apparently he's Canadian. I don't know. Hey, Coach, just curious, what would be some good tactics to avoid getting taken down?
Oh.
All right, number one, learn a few basic wrestling concepts, such as how to sprawl if somebody shoots for a double leg, how to get an underhook if they're up close trying to take you down from a clinch, and practice. So, it sounds like my mic isn't on. Did the battery die? Hello? Test. Sorry, you're spooking me here by saying that my mic isn't on. It's on, okay. All right, so Zed, there are a ton of different ways to take you down. The most basic takedowns start one of two ways, either from a shot, they're shooting for your legs, trying to grab the legs, either one or two, or from inside of a clinch, okay? If you have an underhook, or better yet, two underhooks inside of a clinch, great. You will be able to start stuffing takedowns. If you get your hips behind you, you will be able to stuff takedowns more successfully. And if someone's shooting for your legs, if you learn how to sprawl, how to time that shot, and then what to do after the sprawl, I've got a great video on that topic. Sprawl and then what, I think it is called. Go check that one out. Nick and Jourdan, what's your advice on how to...
Is it for MMA or for or wrestling in general?
Yeah, that's a very good distinction, because if it's an MMA fight, it's a very different thing than a wrestling match. The setups are way different.
Mm-hmm.
Usually for MMA, they'll always try to punch you first to get your guard up, and then they'll shoot.
Yeah.
So, whereas wrestling, they usually try to clinch up with you.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, if
The
they can touch
feints
you,
are radically different.
if they can touch you, then that's takedown. But if you're standing all the way there,
A
they
great
can't
strategy
take you
for
down.
MMA is trick your opponent into thinking they're in a kickboxing match, and then essentially move in and out. I do this a lot. I make my opponent think that I want a ranged fight, and so as soon as they take a step toward me, thinking, yeah, now it's safe to come in, then I will shoot under them and get that takedown.
Yeah.
So, yeah, depending on the sport, depending on the situation, that answer is going to vary. But
I can only say about MMA because in wrestling I'm really bad wrestler. I'm a better wrestler when it comes to a concept of MMA wrestling, because I still can take people down. But when I'm wrestling a wrestler in a wrestling match, I suck. But
Probably set automation next to
yeah,
the.
it's like a. Okay, never mind that.
yeah. So I don't know. The most important thing is timing. You just have to learn. You just have to time that thing, and it's very hard to do actually. But if you are fighting someone more advanced, they have timing for that. But I
Zed
mean,
says this is for MMA specifically.
yeah, especially MMA. All shots. If somebody will shoot. Most of the times it's gonna be an overhead or something like that coming, and
Okay,
they
they wanna
duck
distract
under.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah, they wanna
they
distract
they
you.
will be like overhead and duck
And
under.
duck
That's
under.
the most common thing. So just stay lower. Don't do this crazy stuff like Muay Thai style defense, like these elbows high and things like that. Just stay and stand your ground and just I don't know.
This is Muay Thai. I've never seen.
Yeah,
This
a
is
lot
Muay
of
Thai.
people who don't train for the sport of MMA, they look at MMA fighters and say, oh, they're flat-footed, they're bad boxers, and it's not that at all. Like Nick is saying, staying lower, getting a little bit more flat on the feet, with the weight forward on the balls of the feet still, but a little bit flatter, it puts you in a position to defend a takedown much better.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to adjust your stance and your position quite a bit. You're going to have to be fluid. Essentially, when the other guy lowers, you get lower too. Very similar to wrestling in the fact that you want your head basically the same level as the other guy when he's attempting to take you down. But this has more variables because you can't just follow the guy constantly.
Yeah. Or you gotta get a knee in the hand.
Yeah.
One of the more important things in thinking about how do I defend the takedown is how do you present the other guy with problems that he needs to worry about solving. Here's what I mean by that. If you grapple, for example, and you get into a leg entanglement with a guy who knows how to heel hook, and you're probably thinking, oh, his heel hooks are better than mine. What are you doing? You're probably thinking, I need to defend the heel hook. I need to disentangle this leg entanglement so I don't get heel hooked, right? So you're busy solving a problem while he is moving on to the next step of aggression, if you will. He is attempting to finish that heel hook or set up another footlock off of that heel hook attempt, right? So as far as takedown attempts, if you are backtracking, if you are running away, it's just like a chess game. If somebody's threatening your queen and you think, oh, I can't lose my queen, and you just move it back and move it back, eventually you're going to lose. You have to move your queen into a position that threatens the other guy's king. You put the other guy in check at every chance you have to force them on the run. If you can't do that, you will get taken down. You just will, regardless of how good your sprawls are or how good you are at getting the underhook. Eventually it's going to happen, so you have to execute your game plan and give the other person more problems to solve than you have on your plate. Good question. What do we have next?
Yeah.
Is that a Ninjago backpack? I don't know what that is. Does anyone have a backpack here?
Mm-mm.
Jordan's got his fanny pack.
This one? No.
I mean, this one you mean? Or?
Yeah.
It is?
Probably.
It's not about. It's a fanny pack. Yeah, it's by my friend's company, Bain. So if you go to bainstore.com,
Yep.
use my promo code Jourdan10, 10% off on all merchandises.
Jordan, are you using my platform to promote your sponsors? It's all good, man. It's all good. All right. Another question from what's his name? Brandon Bradley. What is the best martial art for a short dude? Do you mean a short dude? I'm going to assume he means a short guy.
Mm-hmm.
Are any of us short?
No, not really, no.
Tai Chi.
Okay.
Okay.
85 centimeters, 6'1". Jordan's very similar height to me.
I'm
You're
6'0",
pretty tall.
probably.
So,
The best-
tall guys giving short guys advice about.
I think
short
any
guy
martial art will be okay, to be honest. It just depends on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's not like martial art goes by size. Like, okay, you do Krav Maga, you do Judo. I think it's just any would be good.
I've had
And
a
then-
lot of short coaches. Like, my first Muay Thai coach was this really short dude. Like, he was like 5'2". Almost a foot shorter than me. And, man, his clinch game was good. Like, really good. And something a lot of short guys complain about when they start out in Muay Thai is, oh, the clinch doesn't work for me. Clinch against taller guys because they're hard to grab. And this guy he made no excuses. He was just good. So, man, when you're at a physical advantage, though, or when you are at a physical disadvantage, you have to up your technique. You have to get very serious about technique. And you have to get very serious about improving your athletic attributes as much as you can. So, again, this Muay Thai coach, he was very short, but he was also very strong. Strength makes a huge difference as far as grappling, clinch fighting goes.
And most of the time, short guys are faster. Think about Alexander Volkanovski. He's a pretty
Marcelo
short guy.
Garcia.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's pretty strong. He's pretty fast. I don't know. So every disadvantage gives you other advantages. So I mean, I'm tall. I'm skinny. I have a good reach. I'm good at like jiu-jitsu ground game because I have long legs and long arms. But I'm not that fast. Like if
Well, I actually find shorter people in grappling harder to submit because it's
Yes.
their limbs are shorter.
Yes.
Like leg locks, for example. I'm like, with taller people, it's easier. You just slip right in, like.
That's true. Fighting a guy with like thick, stubby, short legs is it's different. It's way different than fighting a gangly, long dude. As far as the leg lock game goes, one of my all-time great coaches, Shane Brenner. He's a short dude, man. But man, that dude taught me how to learn, how to learn, how to learn. Wrestling is a great thing. Everybody should learn wrestling. I don't like putting labels on learn this martial art, learn that martial art. Learn specific skill sets. Learn the skill set of wrestling. Learn the skill set of striking. Learn the skill set of submission fighting. Call those whatever you want to, but learn those. Whether you are tall or short, learn those. All right, what other questions do we have? Brandon says, I hate closed guard. That's not a question, but it's what we have right
accepted.
now.
Like you mean being in someone's closed guard, or when you're in, or when someone's in your closed guard?
That makes a difference. Is it because it's difficult to pass the guard, or it's difficult to use your guard because maybe you're a shorter guy, and when you fight someone bigger, it's hard to wrap your legs around them? In which case, great. Hate closed guard and don't use it. Work on your open guard because that's where all the attacks are.
Yeah.
There are a few ways to attack from a closed guard, but too short monkey legs. Yes, work your open guard. Like my good friend Shane Brenner, dude, short dude, stocky legs, monkey legs, like you say, and that dude was a wizard with his open guard, with the butterfly guard in particular. Man.
Yeah, usually from closed. When someone's in your closed guard, you can just open your guard to butterfly guard.
Yeah, an open guard is halfway between the bottom and the top. It's halfway between losing and winning, if you will. So open up that guard. Forget about closing it, man. Just open that guard and go for the kill. And you might be worried, what if the guy passes my guard? What if he passes your guard when it's closed? There are guys who are wizards at passing the closed guard. So, yeah, get offensive, give the other guy more problems than he gives you, just like we were talking about before. Ooh, we have got a question about wushu or something. Wing0883 says, if you had to train a contemporary wushu athlete for MMA versus a normal person, who would have an easier time? Does being a really good athlete make that much of a difference? It depends on the wushu athlete. I have had that experience before. And it was tough because of the mindset. You remember Aurora? She had a master's degree in wushu.
Yes.
And
Also a vegan.
Also a vegan.
Yeah.
And it was tough training her, to be honest, because she had this very specific skill set in wushu. She could do like cartwheels and aerials and butterfly twists and all this beautiful wushu technique. And she had a hard time with MMA, had a hard time with certain techniques and so on, and it was very, very frustrating for her.
Yeah, because all these things are very conservative. They have their own path, their own moves, and when you train for a long time, then you are just
you're accustomed
stuck
to that.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to switch.
And I remember one day, like after class, she's sitting off the mat, just looking really upset, and I said, "Hey, what's wrong?" And she said something along the lines of, I see all these newbies come in and they don't even know anything and they're surpassing me already. And she's like, I feel like I should be able to do this because I've been doing martial arts for so long. And I said, well, it's a different kind of martial arts. She's like, yeah, I know, but I feel like I should be doing better than I am. And yeah, it's a different thing. And I'm sure there are anecdotal stories of, there are probably wushu athletes who would do great, like take Wong Guan, for example. The last opponent that I fought, the guy who who forced me into retirement, broke my skull. Man, this guy is an amazing fighter. UFC veteran, incredible MMA record. He was two-time national Sanda champion of China, Chinese Muay Thai champion, WKA world champion, just all kinds of titles. He got his start in sport wushu, I believe at the Xi'an University of Sport, and he transitioned from sport wushu to fighting and had enormous success. So I'm not saying it can't happen. It's just
Also,
everybody's different.
I think the age matters and the amount of years spent into
Yeah.
when you are like an dedicated wushu martial artist for 15 years and then you are suddenly deciding to go to MMA, could be hard, probably. But if you are young, like if you are a kid or like around in your 20s, whatever, and you just started wushu for
Yeah.
like a couple years, it's gonna. In general, I would say that any kind of sport, except for maybe chess, chess might also work, helps you to be a better athlete in martial arts because your body is used to working out. That is an advantage, but this advantage can be covered in like 3 to 4 months. For like if you are good athlete and you started with somebody who just started sports and you're not working out well and he is or she is, right?
Yeah.
For a couple months they only need your body is very flexible. It is very good with like when you put a lot of pressure on it, it starts working. So even people who started from zero, they can surprise you in a couple months and be better than you if you don't work. So
Although some people are just like talented as well. Like, who are just naturally like.
yeah,
Well,
but
let's talk about talent for a minute. 'Cause
but yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. That talent gives you an advantage on the start,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's still, if you don't work, nothing gonna
Oh yeah,
happen.
yeah, of course.
I think there are two
Good
things
points.
that people refer to as talent. And one is a person with genetic athletic attributes like being stronger or having a bigger frame or something like that. And the other is somebody who is able to learn something very quickly, quicker than the average person.
Or to both of those combined.
Or both of those. Those are the real killers, man.
Yeah.
And I've seen all three of those. I've seen all three of those. The guys who, had the genetic advantages. I'm not going to mention any names, but I had a student for quite some time, and he had the first kind of talent, the genetic advantages. He was just physically better than most people. And he came to the gym, but he would always show up late. He'd always show up late. He'd
Are
always
you
skip
talking
the
about
warm-up
me now?
and skip-
Because I would show up late.
He would skip all the technique. He would just show up to spar, and that was it. And I think he just liked to beat people up. And
That's-
for a while that worked out for him. But then the guys who showed up to the warm-ups, showed up to the technique, did the work outside of the gym, started to surpass him. And at that point, one day he came to me and he said, "I think I've been going about this the wrong way." I'm like, "Yep." It's good that you see that now.
Yeah.
And then he started buckling down and training for real. And then he started making the real progress. Because for the first few months he came in, he was the same guy. Actually, for like the first year he came in, he was the same guy, no progress. Just a tough, talented guy is the same tough, talented guy a year later. And,
Yeah.
we want to change tough, talented guys into competent fighters who can beat other competent fighters.
Yeah, that's for sure. You have an advantage on the start, but if you think that this is all you need, then
Yeah.
forget
And
about it.
talent's another thing. There was a young lady, Carolyn was her name, and she trained with me for a couple of years. Did private lessons every morning for about 2 years, and she was. Her athletic attributes were good, but was really the talent in her was her ability to pick up and learn things very quickly. So within 2 years, oh man, she got good. Got some legit skills, legit submission grappling skills, takedown
Yeah.
skills.
Is this the one who did the
skills.
flying armbar on you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. She learned the flying armbar in a day. In a day. Well, she already knew how to do regular armbars pretty well, but in a day taught her the flying armbar. So she had the talent, the physical attributes, all this stuff to be a great fighter. But there was there's more than that you need to be a great fighter. I took her to see a boxing match that I was cornering fighters for, and because I wanted her, because she told me she wanted to fight. I said, okay, let's see how much you really want to fight. I want you to see it close up, because it's different than watching it on TV.
Yeah.
So I had her sit ringside as I was coaching the fighters. And afterwards, I said, so what do you think? Do you still want to fight? And then she said, no way. No way. And I said, okay, that's fine. Why? And her answer kind of surprised me. She said, all those people looking at me. I don't think I could handle that.
No, really?
Yes, all the people
The
looking.
adrenaline,
Yeah.
the pressure,
Yeah, and I was like, man, that is the most honest answer. That is an incredibly honest answer. And that's incredibly true as well, because that's one of those things that almost nobody talks about. Mike Tyson talked about this. How, he wasn't the best guy at his gym. There were guys he trained with at the gym who could outbox him, but they weren't the world champion because they couldn't perform under the pressure of people watching you while eating popcorn and drinking beer, in his own words. So that's a unique skill set. And again, it's something almost nobody talks about, but you need that. Like, you need not just the ability, but also the desire to perform in front of people. If you don't have that, you won't be a good performer.
We come back to what we said about the brain and perception, right?
90%.
So, same
90%
thing,
mental.
right?
You
Yeah,
don't have it in you,
it's mental.
you
I like for me, I was worried about like going into a fight. What I'm always worried about is getting a damage, because I don't care about people watching me, because I spend 90% of my life on stage, when with the guitar, because I perform all the time. So for me, it's natural, right? I'm like, watch me, I'm here, But yeah, but I used to have a fear of stage when I was a kid. And I remember my first, because when I was very, very young, I had a first kickboxing match. I was 7 maybe back then. And I had a first kickboxing match, and I couldn't perform because I went there and it was so much pressure on me, and the guy just beat shit out of me.
That was my first kickboxing match too, same thing.
Yeah.
I just froze, man.
It's like public speaking. It's actually the second most scariest thing to do for people, because everybody's staring at you. But once you overcome that, you can actually be very successful, very confident.
Yeah. King's Speech, right?
Yeah.
That first kickboxing match was so weird because, like, I felt like as this dude's beating me up, I was like, my technique is better than him. Why can't I use it? Like, I can't move. I can't physically move.
Yeah.
I just froze. It was weird.
It's that, the block. The adrenaline.
Yeah.
Gets you.
Like, it is entirely possible to be technically, physically better than your opponent in every way except for your mind. And if that's the case, you're still going to lose.
GSP always said that, I remember.
What other questions do we have? Anything else? Probably. Pro4 says, can you still get to the level to fight one match of MMA when you start at 20 or 21? Of course you can. 20 is a baby, man. 20 is a baby. Do you know the average age of a UFC fighter is 29 and a half years old? That's the average age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta master that skill, man.
Your brain isn't even fully developed until age 25 or 26 if you're an adult human male. So, yeah, man.
Male don't...
If a big problem a lot of combat sports athletes have is destroying their body too early. Because there are only so many fights you have to give, essentially, until you're broken. And you can do those fights early on and end up, a broken shell of yourself in your mid-20s. Or you can take that damage later on and spread it out and have a much longer career. This is, again, something most people don't talk about. There are tons of fighters in Thailand who have 200, 300 fights. They've been fighting since they were 5 years old, and by the time they're 25, they are retired and they are broken and they can't do it anymore. This is extremely common in Thailand, because they fight every week, every other week, sometimes twice a week, and they've been doing this since childhood. And again, by their mid-20s, they're over the hill. Not because human beings are by nature over the hill in their mid-20s. No, man, that's supposed to be like like I said, your brain is even fully developed. You haven't even stopped growing up. You're technically not even done with puberty yet by your mid-20s.
Yeah,
Technically.
for sure.
Yeah. So, again, a lot of fighters have a lot of success, and alarming success, much, much later than most people think. Now, if at age, if you're a sedentary individual, if you've never moved, if you've never done anything athletic in your life, if you are sick, if you are obese, something like that, there's a lot of groundwork you've got to do before that. But if you are a healthy, able-bodied 21-year-old young man, it's not unreasonable to think that yes, you could train for an MMA fight and do pretty well. Give yourself a few years and get out there and train and put in the work.
Yeah, for sure. Also, you become smarter as a fighter. As a human being, in your 30s, you are smarter than you are in your 20s. So, all these emotions you can put apart.
You're more experienced.
Yeah, more experience.
Mature, more developed.
Emotion control, everything.
Yeah.
Everything is measured. You don't rush to do something. You just generally control your life better in your 30s, and then in your 40s. In your 40s, then where the body starts talking to you, bro.
Yeah.
Probably that's not the best time already. But 30s, I think, is a very
in your
good
40s,
time.
you start becoming more, at least in my experience, I started becoming more sensitive to what's happening in my body.
Yeah.
It's like, I would say in many ways I'm a better athlete than I've ever been in my life. I'm stronger in many ways than I've ever been in my life. I also have more aches and pains in my elbows than I've had in my life. But I could beat the crap out of my younger self right now. But I'm definitely more sensitive to what's going on in my body. I've developed my sense of proprioception, kinesthetic bodily awareness a lot better, which sometimes manifests itself in aches and pains and so on. But the advantage of that is, when you're aware of it, you can treat it. You know how to address the issue, how to rehab, how to warm up properly, and so on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of young guys, man, I see this all the time, dudes in their 20s come in the gym and without any warm-up whatsoever, just start sparring hard, and all of a sudden they're like, everything hurts, why? Can't move my neck. It's because you were squeezing it so hard.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah, for me it was like maybe past 27 when I started feeling my body talking to me. It will be like, now if you eat that ice cream, your tummy gonna hurt, something like that. Like, oh, you didn't warm up. I see that. So jump this leg. Now, you didn't warm up. That's why. And you feel the body. I started feeling it. Like, I know that if I don't do this, and I started like properly treating that. I understood that I have muscles, I have bones, I have ligaments, I have to warm up, I have to eat certain things, I have to do certain stuff to get my body going as it has to go.
That's why I've always wanted to try those. What do you call those therapies? Is it cryotherapy? Is it where you put like an ice bucket of water and you just jump in?
Yeah.
Like that. I've been watching a lot of people been doing that. I'm like,
they have those cryotherapy chambers over at the UFC Performance Institute in
Okay,
Shanghai.
okay.
Like, after the sparring sessions, the fighters always
Swallowing.
use those. I had a chance to do it, but I was like, I don't feel like freezing myself today.
Yeah.
But,
It's the same like doing sauna, and then if
But
you
cold.
if you no you're doing sauna. Have you ever done like Finnish sauna? When they
Finnish, is that different than like a steam sauna or a
it's
dry
the
sauna?
same, but the concept of sauna, like there are Turkish saunas and Finnish saunas. So
Okay.
Finnish are done with woods, and and in Finnish saunas, most of the time they would have a swimming pool with ice cold water. So you do like very high temperature, and then you jump into that swimming pool, and it cools you off. It is I don't know if sometimes they say like Finns like to drink, right? Like all the Nordic people and all people in general, and they say don't drink while you are in sauna because of your blood veins they get wider and then get smaller, right? So when you drink alcohol, that could influence, can stop your heart because you are going from extreme hot to extreme cold, and your heart can just. But if you are young and don't drink,
Yeah.
then you're good. It's a very nice.
I don't drink. Never touched this. Never
Yeah.
once. But there's a hot springs pretty close to here. It's like a block away from here actually.
Like onsen, Japanese.
No, very very Chinese. They got like music playing and a bunch of different pools. And
I know.
just crazy stuff going on.
Yeah. That's a Korean district, right? Yeah, I know.
It's hard to describe. Like there's nothing like it in America, but by saying it's very Chinese, if you've lived here for a while, it makes perfect sense.
It's not that extreme. I've been there. They still have this Finnish saunas, by the way, all
Yeah.
wooden sauna.
So there's two pools right next to each other. One is like ice water, and the other one is like the hottest pool in the place.
Yeah, it's
And,
jacuzzi.
Yeah, just a hot jacuzzi basically. And yeah, it's fun to like spend 5 minutes in one, jump in the other,
Yeah,
go
also
back
cool.
and
Also
forth,
cool.
get the circulation going.
Yeah.
Great for recovery. All right, we have any other questions, folks? Is Muay Thai training incomplete without drinking and smoking?
I would say yes, for sure. So you do a sparring session, then you take a tequila shot and smoke one cigarette. That's
It's always shocking to me how many professional athletes in like Southeast Asia smoke and drink like a lot. And I think this is another one of those reasons why you see so many people retired and broken, like physically broken, in their early 20s in Southeast Asia in combat sports, is because they drink and they smoke, and that stuff is terrible for you. Regardless of what you think about it moralistically, etc., it's terrible for you. But man, I've got a ton of friends here in China, and they're athletes, but they smoke. They smoke between training. I'm like, you're gonna cut your career very short, or years shorter than it could be, doing that. I don't know. It just always makes me sad when I see that, but it's so culturally ingrained in fight culture here for some reason.
And Asia in general. I know there's a lot of Chinese people, they smoke here. A lot of Chinese people, they smoke.
I have a gym right next to my building, and they teach Muay Thai, and the coaches there, I see them sparring, like beating the shit out of each other, and then a minute after they just sit there, smoke. I'm like, how do you even do that? Like in between sparring sessions, how can you do that?
Oh, right. And so I was moving, changing apartments, and I hired this guy to take out an old couch that's just broken, and he's a little dude, and he carries this couch down a flight of stairs by himself, like pretty easy. He's very strong apparently, but carries it downstairs, and it's hot. It's just super hot day. He's sweating all over. He's panting for breath. As soon as he loads up the truck, the first thing he does, pulls out the cigarette, lights it up, and just starts huffing on the thing. And I'm like, how does that make you feel better? I mean, shouldn't you just like catch your breath first at least? I don't know, man. I don't know.
He's probably used to it. He does it so much.
We got a question. Who do you got? Charles Oliveira or Islam
Makhachev?
Yes.
I would say Oliveira.
Oliveira, why?
Because he's legit, man. He has ground game, he has standing game. Makhachev, he didn't. I just don't like this Khabib Nurmagomedov thing legacy. Like, all Dagestanis are legit fighters. There's no such thing as all Dagestanis are the best fighters in the world. Okay, Oliveira, been there. He's an experienced guy. Or maybe that's me talking because I just don't like all this hype around all these Dagestani fighters. Maybe that's why. But Makhachev did not have as many opponents as Oliveira had. And Oliveira been there, and he's well-rounded fighter. He's legit.
More experience, I guess.
Yeah, Nick, you're from that corner of the world, and like in America, right now everybody thinks everybody from former Soviet republics is a killer, and you're like, I actually know a lot of people from that area of the world, and there are lots of normal humans, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well, I'm from Caucasian region, and we do have a lot of fighters. In Georgia, there are a lot of fighters. In Chechnya, there are a lot of fighters. In Dagestan, most of it comes from the point that we don't have anything else to do. That's why.
So what you're saying is not everybody is Khabib?
No, can you believe it? But certainly there is a big culture of
It's
doing
that stereotype. Yeah.
doing.
It's kind of
doing
like
this.
people think all Chinese people know kung fu, which is not true.
Well, yeah.
So,
Definitely, they have a good school of wrestling there, and yes, they are strong because they have a culture of doing these martial arts from the very childhood, of course, and they are very dedicated because they live in villages, they don't have anything else to do. Look where's Makhachev from, or Khabib, or so if you have sports, you just pursue this path either, or you're gonna be doing what, I don't know, selling apples from your village, I don't know, why can you do that? But
there was a time back at the old JX Fight Club where there were a ton of Russian guys training, like a ton of them. From
like
Kazakhstan, Ukraine, Belarus, just all over these former Soviet republics, and every one of these guys was just good. They all knew how to wrestle, they all knew how to box, they all knew how to fight, they all knew how to scrap. They were not afraid of getting hit, not even a little bit. And it's like, and they would always bring their friends. And so every time I met one of these guys, I was like, why do all these guys know how to fight? Like,
that's the environment.
Or they're aggressive.
That's the environment where we were raised in.
Yeah, but then one day this Russian dude who didn't know how to fight came to the gym, and I was talking about, I related this story about, and he was like, all Russian guys don't know how to fight, look at me.
Yeah, well, the point is that post-Soviet countries were going through, like, people my age, right? I'm 32. I was born in 1990 when the Soviet broke. 1991, the Soviet broke, and there was 10 years or even 15 years of mass in those countries because they had to renew the economy. And when you have total mass in the country, you would have a big crime scene, right? The rate of crime. So we all had to know how to fight because it was jungle. It's like the strongest lying in the jungle lives longest. That's the environment we grew in.
Yeah, exactly.
So even I'm not a good fighter or else. In Georgia, I'm not at all a good fighter because I had my ass so many times whooped back in Georgia. Yeah. But here when I'm fighting.
Here you're like Superman.
Yeah, here when I'm
Georgia's Krypton and Shanghai is Earth.
Yeah, because I'm sparring with people who only had an experience of fighting inside the gym. That's it. They never had anything. Like I'm not saying in China there were no places like in Georgia. There were. One of my students was like, you know what?
Are you saying that you're for the streets?
Yeah. But
Nick does these things
I would like not to be from the streets actually because I don't like violence. Even though I'm a martial artist and I like martial arts, but I like violence when both parties agree on that. Like, hey, I'm gonna kick you and you're gonna kick me. Okay, let's go. So and that will be according to the rules. I'm not gonna stab you or shoot you or things like that, crazy stuff.
Aggravated assaults suck. There's nothing glorious about that.
Yeah. So that's why a lot of people think people from post-Soviet, and I would say once and remember that don't call people from post-Soviet countries Russians, especially now. They're gonna kick your asses. Unless they're and even in Russia there are so many nationalities that even they are kind of weird. There are a lot of 190 different
190. Are there like major factions or something?
Dagestan is part of Russia, right?
Okay.
So Dagestan is nationality. Udmurt. Who else? They are Caucasian regions that belongs
There's
to
a lot.
Russia.
Yeah, okay.
There is northern region that also belongs to Russia. So there are a lot of different, and even they have their own president in some regions,
Oh.
like the regional presidents.
So like autonomous regions, like they have.
Kind of
China?
like that, yeah,
Okay.
kind of like that.
Yeah,
So
there was one country that had like 3 presidents, I think, or like 5 presidents. I remember. It was about, I can't remember. But I remember I was reading about, yeah, there's like some countries that actually have more than 1 president.
some countries, but not Russia.
Yeah, not Russia for sure. But yeah, I was just like, what? You have more than 1 president? Okay. So yeah.
Some countries have more than one capital.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Brazil.
Does Brazil have 2 capitals?
Yeah. Last I checked.
Brasilia.
So
fans-
Brasilia
correct me if
and
I'm
Brasilia
wrong.
and
what?
It's like
Rio?
the official government capital, and then like the recognized capital or something like I don't know.
Well,
Somebody tried to
official
explain
capital
it to
is
me.
Brasilia.
yeah.
Something like that. Anyway,
is-
Brazilian fans, correct me in the comments.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. So yeah, post-Soviet countries, aggressive people because we had bad economy, and a lot of countries didn't want to be part of Soviet.
Oh,
By
man,
the
we,
way.
we are currently being spammed by an adult dating site trying to get us to log on. How about no?
Press it.
Yes. Where's it right now?
Master Wong versus Detroit Urban Survival in an MMA fight. Who wins? It says Wing 083.
Master Wong. Because he's physically fit and I think he's faster.
What?
Master Wong versus the Detroit Urban Survival guy Dale Brown in an MMA fight.
Damn, I don't know this guy. You see, you're into
watching
the
on YouTube.
this thing.
All right, let's try to explain Master Wong to Nick here. How do you explain Master Wong in like a minute? Jordan, go explain Master Wong.
He's a Wing Chun self-defense entertainer expert on YouTube.
There you go. That seems like a fair description. How would you describe Dale Brown of Detroit Urban Survival?
The delusional man.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm getting a general picture here. That's
Careful,
cool.
Jordan. You might write you a very long, strongly worded letter. He sent me
Someone
to
who
so far.
pretends to be like on a SWAT team or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he'll-
like the way he wears is like SWAT.
He wears like this
caveat, yeah,
uniform.
like a SWAT uniform.
Like all of the guys at his training
All the
center
black
wear these
stuff?
uniforms.
Yeah.
Like a SWAT
Like a
uniform,
bulletproof
something like
vest. He
wow.
just needs the helmet. That's it.
He always wears like these tactical gloves and has like an earpiece in his ear.
So who's the winner of this
I say Master Wong.
Master One?
Yeah, you
okay,
too?
Okay.
Ramsey, what do you think?
That's a good question. That's a very good question because I don't think either of these guys have ever been in a fight before. And so, like, if you look at their technique, I would say Master Wong's technique on film looks more crisp and
He's fast.
puppy
Yeah,
and so on. And if you see like his physique, at least from like 10 years ago, he was all ripped and stuff. I don't know what he looks like today. I mean, he's how old is Master Wong? Like 50, something like that.
Oh, really? I thought he was like 4. No.
Yeah, he's. I think he's like 7 years older than me. So, and then Dale. I'm not sure how old Dale is. I think he's similar age to Master Wong. Neither of them are very tall. I think Dale is definitely bigger. He's got more of a size advantage, more weight to throw around. But I don't think either of them have been in a real fight before. So I don't know what this would look like. If you take guys who look really good on film, and then throw them into a real fight, they look way different.
For sure, yeah.
And
It's kind of like DKU when he went to the boxing ring with Bradley, maybe. Yeah.
yeah. I tried to find like any footage of Master Wong doing live sparring, and the closest I could find, he did a little bit of grappling for like 30 seconds.
I remember
in one of
that,
his
yeah.
videos.
I remember
Just
that.
like a little spontaneous flow grappling sort of session, and it looked like all Master Wong wanted to do was stand up and get away, and after he managed to get up, and then he was like, okay, we're done, and that was it. So we didn't really get a good look at what he's capable of. But yeah, that's a hard one. I hate to admit it, but I'm going to disagree and say Dale wins that fight simply by size advantage.
Okay.
Like Master Wong would go in there and be like, "I'm going to grab your groin and rip it off and feed it to you." But it's all talk. How do you do that over?
You think Dale's just gonna sit on him and just be like?
I think Dale would pretty much just sit on him. It would be like Ralphie versus Scott Furcus from the Christmas Story. You know, where Ralphie tackles the other dude and just throws sloppy hammer fists all over. I think that's what would happen. And everybody on the internet would be simultaneously radically entertained, and they couldn't look away from it because it's like a train wreck, and also thoroughly disappointed at the same time. So that's my prediction. Nick, based on what you've heard.
I mean, I would always give a size an advantage. Yeah, I think if the technique is more or less somewhere same, then the size decides.
I
Yeah.
think Master Wong's just faster. He'll just be like, jab, run away from him. Just don't sit away.
It
from
also
him.
depends on the octagon. What kind of space are they going to
yeah.
But
find?
I'm sure Dale has an intelligent option to increase his survivability against a fast opponent.
Yeah, I don't know.
How about Master Wong versus DKU?
Oh, now there's an actual compelling fight. We've got two kung fu style YouTubers. One has had one fight where
Yeah.
he looked absolutely terrible. Of course, he has certain disadvantages. He's boxing against a much more experienced, much larger opponent. And so all DKU's fans are saying, well, his running away was strategic. What would you do in that situation, et cetera, et cetera. But, and then Master Wong, we haven't seen any sparring of him at all, so we have no idea how he would perform under pressure. So, DK is taller than Master Wong. He's bigger, he's heavier.
Younger?
I think he's a little younger.
Yeah.
Whether he's faster or a better fighter, I don't know. It's hard to say. But since DK has actually had some fight experience, although it was kind of, I would say, probably traumatic fight experience. And this matters, because not every fight experience is a good one.
Exactly.
I mean, you can experience PTSD. He might go out there and start freezing, like, not this again. I'm going to get punched by, and in his mind, he's imagining getting punched by Bradley Scott again, when in reality it's, a dude half that size. So, hard to say, man. It is impossible to know until you see it. But I think it would be a crappy looking fight, to be honest. We'd see a couple of noobs going at it. It's like
scrambling on the ground, like.
Yeah, that street beefs. You ever see that?
Oh yeah.
It's like
I watched those. Those are good. Street beefs.
Yeah, they less experienced fighters, sometimes completely inexperienced fighters going at it and just going nuts and doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for the streets, yo.
I have to explore more YouTube channels, I guess.
I think that's what a Master Wong versus DKU fight would look like. That's like a street beefs level fight.
That's a good one.
This guy says Master Wong is 50 years old and 6'4". No, Master Wong is not 6'4".
6'4".
He's not 6'4".
So it's
You're
like,
taller than me.
yeah.
Master.
Yeah, that would put Master Wong in the upper echelon of human height.
I still haven't read his book. I'm still quite curious. I know your brother has.
Yeah, he's been making a series of book reviews on Master Wong's book, so go check out my brother Joseph Dewey on his YouTube channel, Joseph Dewey, if you want to hear a review, a very fair and balanced review of Master Wong's book.
Is your brother also a mixed martial artist? Or
No,
he
he's
doesn't-
a statistician.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Maybe we'll take one more question and then we'll wrap up this podcast. I'm sure you guys have places to go and people to see. All right, one more question for Jourdan and Nick and myself. What do you got, guys? Last question of the day.
Last question of the day. Yeah.
Come on, make it a good one. Or a mediocre one. Or just a one.
About anything.
About literally anything. Any options? Any opinion on Muslim Saki? Didn't we just talk about that guy? We did just talk about him, but he, K5TRL wants to know our opinion of him. So we already talked about him. Let's get a different question. Who is the better fighter out of the three of us? Well, we're gonna have to fight and find out.
Yeah, for sure me. For sure me.
And we're gonna have to do it Royal Rumble style.
God,
Last night,
cold water at you.
It depends. If Jourdan has a knife, then
Of course, yeah.
It's true, which is why we disarmed him before he came in here today. That's a good question. You know, Nick has improved radically as a kickboxer in the last couple of years. So, man, I would definitely give Nick like the most improved award here.
He's still our coach, so I think no questions needed.
Yeah, Nick's becoming a good fighter, man. Especially for a guy who doesn't like. I don't know. I hesitate to say like take yourself seriously as a fighter because you're like a professional musician.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
fighting's like
No,
a
it's
side
just a
thing.
hobby. Yeah.
It's like a hobby, but for a hobbyist who, I mean, how often do you train right now? Like once a week, maybe.
Sometimes less than that.
Sometimes less than that. He's
After
doing pretty
quarantine, almost no trainings.
well. Yeah. And yeah, man, Jourdan's getting pretty scary with his no-gi game, his grappling game, man.
I've been focusing just purely on grappling now, especially leg locks.
Yeah, like I know he presents himself as like the comic relief in the videos a lot, but yeah, Jourdan's getting legit, man.
And buggy choke.
Oh man, so
What
let's
is-
talk about
what
the
is
buggy
buggy
choke
choke?
for a minute. The buggy choke is the most ridiculous submission ever, even when it works. And usually it's done from the bottom. Bottom side control, which I think it's a terrible place to attempt a submission. I mean, if you don't get it, okay, fine, you're still in bottom side control, but I think it's better to get on top. But Jourdan has started buggy choking people from the top.
And bottom.
And the bottom. But we made a video, I might publish it on the YouTube channel later, where Jourdan teaches the buggy choke from top side control. And if you're on the top and it doesn't compromise position, great, go for it. So,
Yeah. And one of my training partners saw that video and last night did it on 2 people and it worked. Yeah.
Can I have a link?
it's up on Jourdan's Instagram. So go follow Jourdan on Instagram. You mind if we give you a shout out?
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Barambolo on Instagram.
On Instagram, yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Barambolo, go check him out, give him a follow. Okay. Oh, we got a fan from Northeast England. My mother is from Northeast England. All right. Well, that's her podcast. Oh, do the other guys have YouTube channels? Jourdan, do you have a YouTube channel?
No, I don't.
Jourdan's on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm
so
on Instagram,
Go
yeah.
stalk him there. Nick, do you have any social media?
I have not my channel, but I have a music project, which is my music project, and you can find Lucky Pack, just LAKIPAK. Type it, and you will see my music and the videos, and soon it's gonna be some performance videos. I think, if you're out there, music lovers, probably gonna like it or not. Leave a comment. I don't know.
Sweet. How do you spell Mr. Barambolo?
So Mr. MR and dot Barambolo, BERIMBOLO.
There you go, Mr. Barambolo. Jourdan, you're gonna get like 5 million additional fans.
I mean, you can find me on Ramsey's Instagram too.
I'm also on Instagram. Most of you don't know this. I think I have like 3 or 4 followers on Instagram, so go check it out. I occasionally post pictures and videos there, so yeah. Alright guys, thank you for watching. Now get out there and train. And now we gotta get up to turn off the camera.
Get out there and turn on the camera.
So, hold on, I'll do it.
Oh
Get the
no!
Stop recording function.
Oh no!
Make sure it exports to YouTube, but hold on.
we're still live.
We're still live!
Where's the stop button?